That's how.
TikTok time to rock. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon to everyone who's watching from all over the world. And yes, Malice the Gray has pointed out one word, shawarma. Shawarma is the word of the day based on things I've heard. So, yeah, guys, we're going to be covering the latest Sheikh Uthman scandal. He can't go. More than a few months without some significant scandal involving deception or stealing one of his friends' wives or faking a hate crime against himself or something like that. Can't go very long. Can't go very long. Or yeah. Anyway, weird, creepy stuff. I pointed out on X, I think last night, that we toss around the term compulsive liar whenever someone lies a lot, but we're using that term very loosely in most times. Someone who lies a lot is not necessarily a compulsive liar. Compulsive liar is more along the lines of like a kleptomaniac. Kleptomaniac is not a person who steals a lot. It's just a person who like is compelled to steal. They can't function without they always feel like they have to be stealing. Well, there are people who always have to be lying. And so Sheikh Uthman is one of the people where compulsive liar is how we would accurately describe him. It's a weird situation. In situations where it doesn't help him, it only hurts him to lie, he'll still lie. It doesn't help him in any way. It only hurts him. He'll still do it. And it's just weird, wild stuff. But we got Jai here. We got Jai. Jai has already been covering this a little bit, and he was just on with Sig asking some questions to who was that guy, Jai? He's the one who like set it up, or is the manager or the producer or something, right?
Yeah, so Sig was just doing a review of everything that went on, and then this guy pops up in the chat and he goes, "Hey, I was the host," and he was named Amin, and so people are like, "Yeah, that's really him. That's really the host." So he came on, and Sig has a discussion with him, and then I came up and I just wanted to ask him some questions, and well, people can judge for themselves how that went, but that if you're coming from that live stream, you're coming here. This is the continuation. We're gonna see what really happens because he wasn't admitting to a lot, so it was pretty much like pulling teeth. Really, that's what it felt like. I would question him about something. I'm like, "Hey, did Uthman claim this? Yes. Did this happen? Well, I could see where you're coming from, but it was like that. That's how the discussion was." And yeah, so his name was Amin. He was the host. He was the one emailing everybody, trying to get everybody involved who was who wanted to get involved, and he was kind of the one who put everything together.
And so that's what's been going on with Jai. And yeah, guys, you might want to check out Sig's show later on. It's already finished, but you might want to check that out for more because they actually had the producer on there with them. And we've got two guests with us. One of you is David, and the other is Michael. Just so you guys know, people named David and Mike do not get along around here. You won't know what that's about, but there are certain terrible people named Mike who don't get along with good people named David. But I've heard that I haven't seen any of the debate except for the Sheikh Uthman's intro at the very beginning. But you guys I've heard, are two of the people who were there. Is that correct?
Yes, that is true.
And were you impressed by Sheikh Uthman's powerful dawah?
Impressed would definitely be a massive overstatement. If we will actually watch the video, and his entire course of his premises is actually a logical fallacy. So I was kind of disappointed because I was expecting this guy to kind of bring the heat and have a really good conversation. But it was very disappointing intellectually, I would say.
All right. Josh, should we check out this little intro clip here before we jump into
Yeah,
things?
so there are some things like that he sets out as facts that need to kind of, be addressed right away. And then whatever you guys want to share about the discussion, I think that's going to be valuable as well. So yeah, why don't we check out this intro and we'll let you guys comment on any inaccuracies that you see.
All right, and so Jai sent me this. It's a clip from Sheikh Uthman, a couple clips from Sheikh Uthman. I think Libiano's in here, but let's check it out.
That's how the da'wah was flowing. Alhamdulillah, we just had a 1v10. We challenged all the Christian apologists across the world, all of them. Many of them chickened out. Many of them were too afraid. The ones that stepped up, alhamdulillah, all 10 got decimated. And
I actually saw some of those, and that was one of the biggest massacres in debate history. Yeah, don't know if you guys saw that, but he had a 1v10 with God Logic, Elijah Johnson, Vocab Malone, Sig, and total massacre. He was massively exposed. He didn't know basic information about the Bible or basic information about the Quran. He's the one who showed up to defend Muhammad in the Bible. He didn't even know the Quran verse that says Muhammad is mentioned in the Bible. He didn't even know that. He didn't know that in the Old Testament, Lord, when it's in all capitals, actually refers to, it's because it's the name Yahweh. He's like, well, they didn't have capital letters back then. I don't think they had capital letters back then. So he really didn't understand even the basics of the basics. But in standard Sheikh Uthman fashion, after he gets completely destroyed, he describes that as he completely destroyed them. And that's for the sake of people who haven't watched it or who wouldn't understand the arguments, even if they do watch it. And as long as you thump your chest afterwards, people will think you won. Pretty interesting. But here we go.
we're too afraid. The ones that stepped up, alhamdulillah, all 10 got decimated, and we're not done. Now we have an amazing new 1 versus 20 at the biggest Bible college in America, the Southern Baptist Theological Bible Seminary in Louisville, Kentucky. We challenged their professors, their deans, their PhDs, their priests. 20 of them stepped up, some of them professors, some of them students at that Bible university, and you're going to see them get decimated. You're even going to see one of them that at the debate will accept Islam. Videos posting soon. Turn on your notifications.
Sheikh Uthman recently did a 20 versus 1 and it has gone absolutely viral. And I thought, what else to do other than react to this raw reaction? Obviously, I'm not going to react to the whole thing because it's an hour and 40 minutes or so, but I'm going to react to the viral moments, the best moments, and see how it goes. We're going to see what kind of arguments were brought up, what kind of responses were given. And apparently these guys were seminary students. This took place at a biblical seminary. There was professors, there were students of theological and biblical background. So we're getting the best of the best. This is no joke. Let's jump right into it.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Your brother Uthman ibn Farouk here in Louisville, Kentucky, in the South Bible Belt. And we are at the Southern Baptist Theological Seminary, the biggest Baptist Bible university in America. And we're challenging all of the professors, Bible scholars, to a debate. 20 of them have accepted. These are all students and professors from this Bible university. We're going to go debate them at their campus. Let's go do this. 20 versus 1. Bismillah.
Okay, so 20, he says Bible scholars, but he includes students, all from this school. Debate is happening at the school. And what's the problem here? What's the problem here, guys? Any problems? Do you see any factual inaccuracies in anything that's been said so far?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, I mean, I wasn't invited to this necessarily like in advance. This was actually held at the U of L campus. So me and Michael were just studying on U of L's campus because all of the other seminary and like a lot of the libraries were closed.
What's U of L? University of Louisville?
Yeah, sorry,
Okay.
University of Louisville.
That's the nickname? That's the local nickname? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Just want to
Yeah.
clarify that. All right, go ahead.
Yeah, so we were studying there, and just kind of in the library. It's kind of dark. There's not a lot of people there, and is his name Amin?
The guy who hosted the debate, who I think you actually talked to, we were sitting in the library, and I was just reading one of my books for class, and he approaches us, and he sees my cross necklace, and he goes, you guys are Christians. And I was like, yeah, I am a Christian. And he went, hey, well, there's going to be free shawarma in about an hour and a half. And there's going to be this guy named Uthman. Have you heard of him? And I was like, I have no clue who that is. And he goes,
didn't know.
Uthman is awesome. And he like pulled it up on Wikipedia. I was like, whatever. And so me and David prayed about it and thought, you know, it would maybe be a good conversation. We had no understanding of what would happen. And this was totally random. So we go to the U of L main campus. It was like in the bottom floor of their cafeteria, actually, in a multi-purpose room. And it was not even 20 people, which is actually funny. Legitimately not even 20 people. And yeah, it was just a random group of people.
Yeah. And
So just to be clear, he didn't like confirm with you guys if you guys were students or professors at Southern, because that's the whole premise of this video, that he's like debating professors and students at Southern. So did he confirm any of that with you guys?
No.
No. He just said that it was going to be, you know, Christians. I even think he said atheists, like just people from on campus wanted to just talk, do a Jubilee style video. And so we were like, okay, yeah, we've seen Jubilee style videos before. Like we kind of know what we're getting into with the table in the center. But that was kind of all he gave us.
Well, he didn't even actually tell us that until we got there.
Oh.
Like we got there and then it was clear. And we're like, this is clearly not a conversation. And then they're like, oh yeah, this is Jubilee. So the entire premise of it was very deceptive.
So just to be clear, this was not, hey, do you guys agree a month in advance to have a debate with Sheikh Uthman? Here are the topics so you guys can be thoroughly prepared for the best interaction. Was none of that. It was you guys minding your business in a library at a different school reading. Someone comes up to you and says, hey, you guys Christians, if you want some shawarma, you can come over and we'll have a friendly discussion, something along those lines.
Mm-hmm.
It's exactly what happened.
Yeah. And it was decent shawarma, to be fair.
Yeah, it was.
To be fair, I don't think I've ever had bad shawarma.
Yeah,
To be
it's
fair,
good stuff. Right?
it's just generally pretty awesome, delicious stuff. So yep, they know how to draw people in. They know how to draw people in. All right, so one thing that is apparent from the thumbnail and basically what I've heard, because I was tuning in for a little bit of Jai when he was over with Sig. Actually, I was watching Sig a little bit earlier, and then I saw Jai pop in there. But one, it wasn't even. I've heard it wasn't even 20. It was like 13 or something like that. Two, not Bible scholars, even though they said scholars. And three, almost very, very few had anything to do with Southern Seminary. So, out of the, first of all, is that correct? There was there was 13 people there, not 20.
I'm not exactly for sure, but I know it was probably less than 15 for sure.
Mm-hmm. And I think Jai and Sig said that the people who actually appear or say anything was something like 9. It was like 9 people who actually took part in the discussion. How many professors from Southern were there?
Zero. Not a single one. Not
That's
a single
weird.
one. And like,
Oh, go ahead.
yeah, it's kind of odd that he would call us scholars or like Bible, like preachers, pastors. Nobody there, but well, there was one guy who was a pastor, but he's a Unitarian pastor. So, you know,
Are there many
standing-
Unitarian pastors at Southern Seminary?
Zero. Yeah, you'll see people throughout the video identify themselves as, you know, I'm this tradition. Like, there's a guy who says, like, yeah, I'm an Episcopalian. There's another guy who says, you know, I'm a Unitarian. And a lot of people who are just kind of like, you know, generic Christian. And it's like, you got to know what you are if you're going to teach at the Southern Baptist Theological Seminary. Like, they hold you to a really strict confession of faith, and you're interviewed by Dr. Moeller, and you know your stuff. So, yeah, I mean, it's not easy to become an SBTS professor. And to say that like we represent like PhD level scholarship and like people who are the caliber to get a position at a professorship at Southern is pretty disingenuous. Yeah, I think even watching the video, you could just tell. Yeah.
Okay, so no, even though he says he was there to debate professors at Southern, there were no professors from Southern there. It wasn't held at Southern as he claims. But so he's just they're getting people from elsewhere to take part in this. How many people who were there of the 13 to 15 or whatever, how many people who were there would you guys consider Bible scholars?
None.
I mean, you could maybe count the Unitarian guy because he says that he like debates Trinitarian apologists and stuff like that. I don't know much about his background, but he at least like will do debates. I don't know if that's considered scholarship. I don't know if he's published anything, but yeah, basically no one except for maybe that guy.
Let's go back and watch this video one more time now that we've got a little bit more info. So guys, this doesn't take place at Southern Seminary. There are no professors from Southern there. There are no Bible scholars there except for possibly the Unitarian, who definitely would not be affiliated in any way with Southern. And yeah, I wouldn't consider debating to mean you're a scholar. So I'd have to see some credentials to consider him a scholar. But let's see how Sheikh Uthman represents this whole thing once again.
That's how the da'wah was flowing. Alhamdulillah, we just had a 1v10. We challenged all the Christian apologists across the world, all of them. Many of them chickened out. Many of them were too afraid. The ones that stepped up, alhamdulillah, all 10 got decimated, and we're not done. Now we have an amazing new 1 versus 20 at the biggest Bible college in America, the Southern Baptist Theological Bible Seminary in Louisville, Kentucky. We challenged their professors, their deans, their PhDs, their priests. 20 of them stepped up, some of them professors, some of them students at that Bible university, and you're going to see them get decimated. You're even going to see one of them that at the debate will accept Islam. Videos posting soon. Turn on your notifications.
Sheikh Uthman recently did a 20.
By the way, who was at the debate who converted to Islam?
There was no one there. Well, one funny note is there's no such thing as a Southern Baptist priest. I just think that's really funny.
Yeah,
No, that's extremely hilarious, and that's like, that's along the lines of him not knowing what Lord in all caps in the Old Testament means or something like that. But doesn't know basic information. He's there to debate the Southern Baptist priests. Tons of those, tons of Southern Baptist priests, and tons of priests at Southern Seminary.
Mm-hmm. What I saw at the very end of the conversation, there was an exceptionally young person. I would, maybe they're even in high school in the video, maybe they're like freshmen in college, but he was talking to Uthman after the debate because he was very young and really didn't know anything. So Uthman kind of like, I would say in that context, he really was unfair to this kid in the conversation, just brought up a lot of things the kid I know information about. So maybe he's that kid, but there was nothing in the video there where someone accepted Islam.
Yeah, Jai, what did I misunderstand that? It sounded like he said you're going to see this in the video or something like that.
Yeah, I didn't see it anywhere in the video. I didn't see anyone accepting Islam. The closest person to Islam was probably the Unitarian. He was basically saying, yeah, we pretty much agree on everything. We might have some minor disagreements. And I thought that was his angle. Like, oh, this guy agrees with Islam. Maybe I was thinking, because that's the only thing that I could think of, because I didn't see anyone like say like the testimony of faith or the shahada and say, hey, I'm now a Muslim or I'm going to become a Muslim. I thought it was more like this guy agrees with Islam, but I didn't see anyone in the video actually become a Muslim.
Just wanted to draw attention to the thumbnails real quick. Got to bring these up. Where's this stuff?
Yeah. So as you do that, so yeah, as you guys mentioned, there was like this Unitarian who is not a Christian. There was someone who were saying that they were Catholic. There was someone who was saying that they were Episcopalian. So these are people that, and I think you yourself, Michael, you are Presbyterian, right?
That's true. Yeah.
Okay, so you guys are not you, even though maybe closer to Baptist, but you're not representing Southern at this debate, right? No one there, like any of those people. And there were also people who were saying like, yeah, we don't actually have a problem with like the idea that the Bible contradicts itself. There was a couple people who said that, 2 people, I believe. And this is not something that would be acceptable at Southern, right?
Right. Right.
Yeah. So no one there was representing the seminary. The idea that he's trying to portray is that this is the biggest Bible seminary in America. They got the best scholars, the best professors, and here we're going to go debate them. And none of this happened. This didn't happen, right? None of this happened. No one there was representing the seminary.
Nope. Yeah, nobody knew anything about it. Or I know that there were some people that had like heard about it beforehand. The guy that I was sitting next to said that he had heard about it a couple days beforehand. And so, but yeah, nobody there is representing Southern. I think we maybe told him afterwards that like, yeah, we go to school there, but that, you know, we weren't there on the school's behalf at all.
But they didn't know that though, right? Prior, they didn't know that prior that you guys were okay. That's important.
They just looked out for a
the
video.
Framing is, yeah, the framing is everything with this guy. Like he tries to always frame things in, like I just debated the Pope, basically. Like that's how he tries to angle things, and he's like really debating like some like,
random Catholic, yeah. And he's saying I debated the Pope.
Yeah.
And that's what's kind of odd about this. Like, there's no important reason to lie about this. He could have called the video, Sheikh Uthman versus 13 Christians, and not even pointed out that at least one would be considered heretical or something like that. Could have called it Sheikh Uthman debates 13 Christians. But they just can't do it. They just can't do it. They have to exaggerate and change everything. They have to call it 20 Christians. And they can't just say 20 Christians. They have to call it 20 scholars. And they have to say that it's, professors and so on from this Christian school. And, just massively, massively deceptive. And what's crazy is you'd think that this would bother the fans. When this gets pointed out, wait a minute, he's going around here thumping his chest. I just debated 20 Bible scholars from this seminary, and you didn't debate any Bible scholars, and you didn't debate any professors from that seminary, and it wasn't at the seminary, like you said, and almost everything you're saying is a lie. It doesn't bother their fans. Which is weird. And yet, if you were to do the same thing, something similar to them, suddenly their moral reasoning ability clicks on and they see that it's wrong. But when their guy does it, they don't think that these things are wrong. Like if I were to make a video where I go to let's suppose I go to Al-Azhar University and stuff, and I make a video saying, hey, I'm here at Al-Azhar University. We're having this on campus. I'm going to be debating 20 of the greatest Muslim scholars on the planet. And then I just go find some random Muslims at a different location, and we have a little, and I just sort of like pick them up in various spots and stuff like this. But I tell people that I'm debating Muslim scholars from this Muslim university and so on. Suddenly they would realize that is massively deceptive and evil, and they would condemn me for it. And I would never hear the end of it for the rest of my life. David, no matter what you say, ever, we cannot trust you because of this massive deception. When their guy does it, totally fine, totally fine. And the only Muslims you will see who will at all criticize Uthman for doing any of this are people who are already mad at him for something else, for being from the wrong sect of Islam or something like that. People who are already mad at him will criticize him. But if you're a Sheikh Uthman fan, it does not matter what you do. It does not matter how you lie. That's just part of dawah. And that's the kind of massively dysfunctional world we're engaging with right now.
And David, to your point, what they told us and what they're telling their audience is just so different. You talked about, what about the title for the video being, one, Muslim apologist versus 20 Christians? And that is literally what Amin said, coming to, I remember him getting up in front and he kind of was explaining to the audience. He was like, hey guys, we're just going to do this video. It's going to be something like, he literally said the words like, one Muslim apologist versus 20 Christians. And that was what he said the title of the video was going to be. So that's the kind of the pretenses that we were there under.
And here you have their thumbnail, guys. This is one Muslim versus 20 Bible scholars. Even though it wasn't 20 and they weren't Bible scholars.
We're also AI generated as well in this image.
Yeah, I noticed you guys are all dressed eerily similar. It's weird how you guys all showed up, sort of different colors and stuff like that, but basically like you showed up to a banking convention or something like that. Hey, I did want to point out real quick. 1 second, let me pull this up. I thought this was funny. So there was a popular debate on the Dr. Daff show earlier this year, but check out the similarity here. Notice the similarity? So one Muslim versus 20 Christians. One Muslim versus 20 Christians. So check it out. One Muslim versus 20 Bible scholars. One Muslim versus 20 Christians. I think for Korah they actually did have 20 Christians though, unlike the Sheikh Uthman thing, or close to it. But yeah, I think Sheikh Uthman's team was like, hey, this worked well for the ladies earlier this year on the Dr. Daff channel, so let's just copy it as much as we can. So look, I mean, everything. One Muslim versus 20 Christian. They even did the same like color scheme. Look, one Muslim versus, and they put the one Muslim in white and then the verses in red and stuff like that. And then they do the same thing here. Anyway, definitely some copying going on as far as what things have taken off this year. Let's try to do the same. All right, so quite a bit of copying going on. But anyway, let's check out the rest of this little intro once again. Now that
I just want to say the reason why I included, so if you guys don't know, the next speaker, the guy in the middle between him, is called the Orthodox Muslim.
Hang on. You haven't said why you included that, but But
okay,
let me see if I can say why you did it, or if this could be one of the reasons. Yeah. But the point is, any Muslim who's looking at that title, looking at that thumbnail, and watches Sheikh Uthman's little intro, is going to conclude that Sheikh Uthman went to Southern Seminary, debated 20 Bible scholars, because that's what everything says. That's the impression you'd get. And then I was guessing you included that so that you could say, this is how any person would interpret his words. And the point is that you would be massively misled and deceived by that. Is that correct?
Exactly. So it's not just like us Christians coming out and we're like being uncharitable and saying, oh, there might be multiple ways to interpret this. No, here you have Muslim apologists not knowing the situation at all, just seeing the video, and they're concluding the same things. Because that's literally how he presents it, how he frames it, how he titles the video, and how he structures his trailer and the intro as well. So this is not like just something that we're coming up with to try to like attack him with or something. This is pretty clear way to interpret exactly what's going on.
And the serious ongoing problem here, and this is why they'll do it. Years ago, I named this Islam's 99-1 rule, which is that was in response to arguments they use where they're just being massively deceptive. Like you could offer arguments for Islam where I would disagree with you, but it's not like you're just making things up. But there are arguments they use where they're just absolutely making things up. It's just nothing but lies, like the miraculous, perfect, dot for dot, letter for letter preservation of the Quran from the time of Muhammad. It's complete nonsense. It's absolute, hands down, made up nonsense. It would take you 2 minutes of But they'll still use the arguments, and you try to think of why. Why are you saying something that anyone could look up and find out that you're a liar? Why would you do that? And eventually I realized, well, they just know that most people don't look these things up. Like the vast majority of people, if you tell them something, hey, did you know the Quran has been preserved dot for dot, letter for letter from the time of Muhammad? And there isn't one single letter of difference between any two Qurans in the entire history of the Quran. Most people aren't going to go look that up. They're just going to be like, whoa, that's interesting. Huh, I didn't know that. So I called it Islam's 99-1 rule, and that they're kind of banking on the idea that out of 100 people, like at most one person's going to look up what you're saying. But guess what? If you just keep lying and 99% of people are believing your lies, you're building a bigger and bigger sort of mob, and the big mob can silence the one person who actually looks things up. So that's kind of the situation here. If Sheikh Uthman announces, I debated 20 Bible scholars at this Christian seminary, and he's lying, which he is, notice only a fraction of people are going to like watch our live stream later on. Most people are just watching Sheikh Uthman, and they're seeing his video, his title, his thumbnail. Maybe they watch some of it. Probably they don't. And they just go away thinking Sheikh Uthman showed up to a seminary, debated all their best scholars, completely destroyed them, and it's all the evidence is there. That's what they'll think. And it's like a tiny fraction of people who would ever actually look up what really happened. And even those who did still wouldn't be bothered by it, because they've accepted that deception is a perfectly good way of doing things. Not sure how much you guys know, but a lot of them reason along the lines of, if I have to lie to you about the evidence to get you to convert, well, you're going to spend eternity in paradise. So have I harmed you by lying to you? No, I've helped you. I've done something helpful to you by lying to you. And so anyway, very, very creepy views. But let's check the rest of this intro out.
Sheikh Uthman recently did a 20 versus 1, and it has gone absolutely viral. And I thought, what else to do other than react to this raw reaction? Obviously, I'm not going to react to the whole thing because it's an hour and 40 minutes or so, but I'm going to react to the viral moments, the best moments, and see how it goes. We're going to see what kind of arguments were brought up, what kind of responses were given. And apparently these guys were seminary students. This took place at a biblical seminary. There was professors, there were students of theological and biblical background. So we're getting the best of the best. This is no joke. Let's jump right into it.
Best of the best, professors and students. Where did Libiano get those completely false ideas there? Oh, from here, from Sheikh Uthman. Let's see.
Your brother Uthman ibn Farouk here in Louisville, Kentucky, in the South Bible Belt. And we are at the Southern Baptist Theological Seminary, the biggest Baptist Bible university in America. And we're challenging all of the professors, Bible scholars, to a debate. 20 of them have accepted. These are all students and professors from this Bible university.
He just said these are all. Did he just say that?
Yep.
These are all. Yep. So one, it's 20, and these are all students and professors from this school. Guys, remind me again, how many of the participants were students or professors at that school?
It's just us.
Yeah.
Okay, so two. He said all.
2 students, right?
And once again, how many of you are professors there?
0.
Zero.
They're completely by accident.
Zero professors, and they only found these guys by accident because they were sitting in a library.
Yeah. And
at a different school.
Them, hey, are you guys students at Southern Seminary? Are you guys students there? They just, hey, you guys are Christians. Let's have a discussion. Let's do a discussion together. I mean, it's like the way that he's like, introducing this debate and how he went about even bringing you guys on is extremely deceptive, because although you are students, you're the only students, you're the only people who have any association with the seminary. He didn't even know that when he brought you guys in. So yeah, it's just incredibly deceptive.
It's pretty bad. Let's see what he said.
Scholars to a debate. 20 of them have accepted. These are all students.
20 of them have accepted. These are all students and professors. Listen.
Accepted. These are all students and professors from this Bible university. We're going to go debate them at their campus. Let's go do this. 20 versus 1. Bismillah.
20 have accepted. They're all students and professors at Southern, and the debate is being held at Southern. Once again, I can't help but point it out over and he doesn't need to lie about this. You don't need to say, and we had it here. You don't need to do that. You don't have to. But he does it anyway. It's weird. That's what I mean by like compulsive liar. He can't. It's weird. He can't help but. And you could give him something to where all he has to do is tell the truth about it, and it would help him somehow. He would have to somehow add a lie to it. Yeah, guys, you're kind of you may be totally new here with this stuff, but I'm talking about with Sheikh Uthman here, but he. Among his many other nicknames, so he's got Sheikh Ibn Fibbin, Sheikh Ibn Footnote, because every time he's quoting a footnote, he completely misrepresents what it says and frequently says that it says the opposite of what he's claiming. But anyway, people call him Sheikh Ibn Fibbin, Sheikh Ibn Footnote, Sheikh Ibn Zina. That refers to certain sins that he commits in Islam. But one of them, a couple of them revolve around an incident. They call him Sheikh Ibn Smollett after Jussie Smollett. They call him Sheikh Ibn Ketchup because basically he had some fake blood squirted on him, and then he claimed to be the victim of an Islamophobic hate attack. And matter of fact, I got the picture right here. So you can, this is the picture. Now, why is this relevant? Well, if you've dealt with real blood or fake blood, you look at his hand, that's pretty obviously fake blood. But apart from that, this is supposed to be a stab wound from this Islamophobic hate attack. And so he got stabbed in the stomach and he's bleeding. Oddly enough, you can see where the wound is supposed to be downwards and the blood is flowing upwards. But that's not the real issue. It's you can see spatter marks all over. That's not what you get from a wound, from blood that is seeping out of a wound under your shirt. It would just leave a blood spot that grows bigger and bigger. You can clearly see that it's been sprayed onto him from outside. But anyway, there would have been no way for us to prove that, right? We would say, oh, that looks like fake blood to us. It looks like it was sprayed onto him from outside. We couldn't prove that. It would still be, no, we think it's real. But he couldn't leave it at that. He couldn't leave it at something that we couldn't decisively prove. Saying, hey, it looks like fake blood to us would not convince his followers that he sprayed fake blood on himself. But the thing is, again, this is where the compulsive lying comes in. He couldn't leave it at something where we couldn't decisively prove that he was lying. Instead, he claimed then and afterwards that a police report was filed. The knife was handed over to police. They arrested the guy who stabbed him. That man was taken to court. He was put on trial. He was convicted. I even heard that the man converted to Islam while in prison. Problem was, that's all stuff people can test and verify. And so people contacted the police department for some of it were like media, hey, we want to know about this story. Police were like, we have no record of any of this stuff happening. We don't know what you're talking about. People contacted the prosecutors. There's no court records. And it's like, how did this guy carry out an Islamophobic hate attack in California where you would assume we would have heard about it all day, every day for the next 6 months? No one, police, no clue that this ever happened. Prosecutors, no one. His fans still believe that he was a victim of this Islamophobic hate attack. But that's what I mean with he will lie about something where it's only going to hurt him. It's only going to hurt him because he makes it easy to expose the lie. And so this is just massively dysfunctional. The guy he seems like he needs some some therapy. If you're a compulsive liar, if you can't help but lie, it's I don't know, weird, creepy stuff. But
Yeah, he needs the Lord.
absolutely,
Absolutely.
that's what you need.
Yeah.
That's what you need to break this stuff. All right, what do we want to
So-
do here?
Yeah. So
We want to check out something better.
Oh yeah, the debate.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So I think you were the first one, Michael. Right? You were the first one in the video to join part of the debate. Can you explain a little bit about how that worked? Because I know there actually was a topic that you were really interested in, but you didn't get a chance to do that one. But you did another one. Can you explain like how the format was for people who are curious how that was set up?
Yeah. So basically, it was set up in this Jubilee style, which I didn't watch Jubilee before this event, so I actually didn't know what it was like. But we got these little white flags, and basically, Uthman would say a prompt of something he was just proposing is true, and then whoever raised up the flag first would go up and debate him. And so, my area of not really of expertise, but at Southern, I've taken over 12 credit hours in Greek exegesis, with a lot of time spent in doing New Testament textual criticism. So that's kind of my area where I would be actually qualified to say at least something about that field, especially when he made claims about the Bible isn't reliable. I would have actually been able to have a conversation. But his first prompt was Muhammad is in the Bible, which was honestly laughable. Like I didn't even I was shocked that this was his first prompt. And so then it was like, all right, everybody go up. And no one raised their flag for like 35 seconds. It was like really awkward. And so I raised my flag. I was like, okay, I guess I'll go up there. So then I sit down and he literally monologues for 8 minutes. One of the weirdest arguments I've ever heard. He like went to an obscure verse. You'll see it in the debate, but it was odd.
So you wanted to get him on like the topic of like Bible preservation and textual variants and things like that. But it ended up being the case that you went on this particular one because no one else basically stepped up. So you wanted to like, interact with them. So before this,
one second though. So just to be clear, you did not know the topics ahead of time. You found them out right there.
Right. I had zero preparation.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
And so before this interaction, how much time would you guys say that you've spent interacting with Islam, studying Islam, evangelized to Muslims or anything like that? Or did you just kind of see this as like an opportunity of like, well, I don't know much about these guys, but I can witness to them? Or what's your kind of backgrounds with like Islam?
For me personally, I don't have hardly any experience with Islam. I don't know very much about it. And so I was actually a little hesitant to go on. But, as we said before, me and Michael prayed about it and we're like, we'll just, kind of see if the Lord uses it. We'll do our best and just kind of try to rely on whatever, classes we've had at Southern to, we assumed he was probably going to talk about the Trinity and about the incarnation and kind of how it's just totally incomprehensible and stuff like that. But we didn't prepare at all for anything specifically before this.
Hey, everyone! Okay. Everyone catching
that's
that?
Important, yeah.
Everyone catching that? They're looking for people who aren't prepared, don't know the prompts, and hopefully don't know much about Islam. That's who Sheikh Uthman is looking for his debates now. Interesting.
Yeah, because you guys have an Islamic center, right, at Southern. So there's like a specific center that deals with apologetics to Islam geared towards Muslims. And so there would be like specialists, people who would be, more, let's say like even if they didn't know the topics offhand, they would have like maybe familiar with like, oh, okay, I've studied this before, heard this before. That's not your guys' department though, right?
No. And there's people who know fluent Arabic at Southern and who would have been able to have great conversations. And I think it's important to note too that when we were approached by Amin, we were approached about having a good faith dialogue about two different religions. So I was under the assumption that one, I was going to get free delicious shawarma, which they didn't lie about that, thank goodness.
Okay, that's one thing they didn't lie about. That's one thing they didn't.
That is true. But also that it would be a genuine conversation. And so me and David prayed, and it was very clear, like, how often do you get approached by someone random asking to hear about Christianity? So it seemed, that it'd be a good opportunity to talk about the gospel. That was the only reason we went.
And so we heard David's answer, but what's your answer, Michael, on like your background with dealing with Islam or Muslims? Like, have you spent much time studying? Like, I know, especially in America, where study like atheism, like secularism, how do we reach atheists and things like that. Maybe Mormonism or Jehovah's Witnesses, but Islam is not super popular for a lot of Christians. Like, they wouldn't really know how to deal with specific debate points or whatever. But how about yourself? Have you ever, studied it or looked into it in terms of apologetics?
I've only read about half a book about Muslim apologetics.
Half a book, okay. Yeah.
Do you remember the book?
How to reach your Muslim neighbor with the gospel.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Nice.
And it was a great book, honestly, what I read.
Great. Yeah. So there was I guess we could probably like show some of it, but like they mentioned that like the first 8 minutes or so, I think it might even be even longer. It's just Uthman kind of laying out a case for Song of Solomon 5:16.
Song of Solomon, that's what he went with.
Yeah, and then he went a little bit of Isaiah 42, and those were his two kind of things that he kind of. And so Muslims made a big clip about this. They made a big kind of a clip, and they were talking about how Michael's interaction there, because he was just hearing this for the first time, right? This is your first time ever hearing this, right?
Yes.
So your first time hearing it, you weren't agreeing with him. You were just like taking in what he was saying. Muslims were thinking like, oh, this is a Christian admitting Muhammad is in the Bible and all of this stuff. And they're kind of like blowing up these clips saying that kind of stuff. And so but that's not
what I specifically said, that like the word Muhammad might be phonetically, I said linguistically in debate, it might be linguistically or phonetically in the Bible. But then I even say in the debate, even if what he is saying is true, it is actually meaningless. So that's what I say in it. And then he kept trying to get me to say yes to what he was saying, which he actually clipped out of context in the very beginning of the video of me agreeing with him, which is actually false. So even that is a lie, which is funny because in the full context clip is right after the lie, where you can verify I never agreed with him.
And interesting historical note, the first argument I was ever given for Islam in brief form was Song of Solomon 5:16. Muslims gave me a tract back in the 1990s. So they gave me the tract on this, and guess what? I had no clue what they were talking about, no clue how to respond. Fortunately, I was able to just I had a Strong's Concordance, so I went to the Strong's Concordance and I looked up the word. And then I looked up all the other places where the word is used, and I was like, "There's no way this is the name Muhammad." But that's what these arguments are designed for. They're designed to catch people who've never heard this before, and to kind of catch you when you don't know how to respond because you're like, "What is this?" But you haven't looked into it, and so on. And then the second argument I was given that was like fully fleshed out was the argument from Scientific Miracles. But yeah, it was Song of. I'm sure I have that tract somewhere. I've still got that somewhere. That tract. That would be funny to go back find that tract from that I was given in the 1990s and respond to it. But yeah, it's hey Sheikh Uthman. Let me go ahead and say here, Sheikh Uthman, if you think there's actually a good argument that Muhammad is mentioned by name in Song of Solomon 5:16. You covered a little bit in your debate with vocab, and we're going to see some of it here. If you think this is actually a good argument, let's actually spend some time. You're welcome to join us live. You can join us live. You can have it on your channel too. We'll have it on both channels, and we'll go. Matter of fact, the Song of Solomon is a short book. It's 8 chapters, but they're 8 short chapters. We'll go through the entire book. And you tell us what's about Muhammad and what's not about Muhammad in there, and how this is a clear prophecy about a coming prophet, because not a word about anyone being a prophet there. Anyway, so open invitation, Sheikh Uthman. All right, so we're going to check out some of that. Let's check out these super chats real quick first, and then we will jump into that video. Guys, no Zoot jokes today. We don't want to corrupt the minds of innocent Baptist seminary students like I used to be. Don't worry, we warned them beforehand. We warned them beforehand that that there might be some jokes going around that they're not familiar with. Let's see. He debated them, but sadly, the scholars would not let him speak and shouted, "This is Oh, this is Jussie Smollett joke here. He debated them, but sadly the scholars would not let him speak and shouted, "This is Jesus' country," as they attacked him. I was the ketchup bottle. You see that Antifa showed up armed at Dearborn. Oh, no, I didn't see that. That's interesting.
Wow. Gotta check that out. Yeah.
Sheikh Uthman would rather eat Libby's belly spaghetti. See, that's what I mean. No one, these guys aren't going to understand the belly spaghetti. We're just going through some videos by one Dawa guy who said that rather than talking to this woman he was talking with, he would rather eat spaghetti off another Dawa guy's belly. And it's just like, why would you say that? Anyway, then
why would that be the first thing that comes to your mind?
Yeah.
Like, it was like the first thing that came to his mind was like, I'd rather do, and it was like the most crazy thing. Like,
pretty creepy.
That's the background for that.
So Sheikh Uthman would rather eat Libby's belly spaghetti than to debate actual scholars. Anyway, I got my belly pizza. That's good. And we've got, if Uthman converts you, even Allah laughs at you. And we've got a huge anti-Islamic protest is happening in Dearborn right now. Just thought you should know. God bless you guys. Oh, hi, David. Yeah, I think that's connected. So I guess people showed up and then Antifa showed up as well. How much wood can Mo Zoot? Uthman would pay atheists to claim to be Christians so he could beat his chest and claim victory, and his mindless minions would applaud him. Sadly, that is correct. High school Uthman cooking 14-year-old scholars. Guys, no Zoot joke. Oh, that's the one I already read. Let's see. One Muslim versus 20. Where are the other 10 people? Yeah, you got to have 30. This can actually be suable malicious libel.
I mean, that's interesting.
Not sure about that.
I think the seminary would have to look into that, but there is something about trademark and using their name and their image. But I think someone who's trained in law would have to evaluate that. Yeah, but that is an interesting. Yeah, I mean, I've heard people say that though. They said they should look into that.
If they can do something like that, I mean, it's more you just kind of want an apology and want him to correct it, like post it on his channel saying, okay, I lied about all this stuff or I misrepresented all this stuff. But another way would be, for Southern Seminary to post a video saying, hey, Uthman said he showed up and debated a bunch of scholars and stuff like this. That's total nonsense. But Sheikh Uthman, if you actually want to come out, go ahead and assemble a team, and we'll assemble a team of actual debaters, and then you guys can come out, and we'll have a team of debaters, and we'll all have some nice debates on some really important issues, like was Muhammad a true prophet, and is the Quran the word of God, and things like that. I think that would go well, but yeah. 0% chance that Sheikh Uthman would ever do that. Bend the fabric of reality and it will snap back. That's the idea. Like the stream and get your hikmah levels over 9,000.
Hikmah, there was a lot of like Islamic terms or Arabic terms. Hikmah just means like wisdom. So if you guys, don't know.
Oh, look at this. Was that blood or spaghetti sauce? He had spaghetti sauce on his belly. To our guests, Seeking Allah, Finding Jesus, the new edition, is a must-read for apologetics, especially to Muslims. Yeah, that's a good book to read. Seeking Allah, Finding Jesus. Dawa bros be really upsetty spaghetti. Yeah. I think he's training to be his prophet. He can't take 30 zut yet, so he only did 20. Uthman doesn't read well and can't count.
Oh, that's actually an important thing to note, because even in this discussion when he was reading, I think he had the Orthodox Study Bible. He had the New Oxford, and the some kind of like notations Bible. I don't know the exact name of it, but there was a couple of books that he referenced and he actually had and he read. And if you look up the quotes he's actually reading versus what he's saying, it's usually not the same thing. So he'll be like saying, oh, this lexicon said, like he quoted like, BDB, like, part of the foremost popular, Hebrew lexicon. And he goes, oh, this is what this says. And you look it up and it's like, oh, that's actually not saying that. So we always like to, encourage people, if they ever do have discussions with him, to always like pause and just, okay, let's read this together, because he usually has the books in front of him, because most of the time he's misrepresenting what he's claiming to be reading.
Mm-hmm. And normally it's just, we just assume that if someone's saying, hey, it's right here, I've got the book and it's right here and it says this, normally we just take for granted that people are representing it accurately. With Sheikh Uthman or with any other Dawah guy, it's always pause, let's read that. We need to read that, and I need to read it for myself, because they are usually completely making up something. Pretty weird stuff. But yeah, it is interesting. So he can't read well, and he can't count. So he definitely can't count to 20. The guests and their reactions to Super Chats are reminding me how niche and specific my knowledge and humor is. Mm-hmm.
We did give him a warning before the stream started, though. So
then reminds me of the scene from Islamicize Me where DW character had to lick the hands of Vocab's character, something about not letting the jinn get blessings. Yeah, that's in the Muslim sources, that you either have to lick your own, after eating, you have to lick your own fingers clean, or if you don't want to lick your fingers clean, you have to have someone else lick your fingers clean for you, because Allah, in any batch of food, in any meal, Allah inserts a blessing into some particular particle, and you don't know where it is. So it might be on your fingers or something like that, and then you won't get the blessing. And so if you wipe your hands on a napkin, then a jinn will eat it, and a jinn will steal your blessing. So you either, if you want to keep it from the jinns, those spirit
which
beings,
are like demons.
Yeah.
Those like demons.
Yeah, if you want to keep them from getting your blessing, you either have to lick your fingers or have someone else lick them. So anyway, you're getting this. You're getting the hikmah now. You're getting the hikmah. You're getting the hikmah. You're getting the wisdom.
Got so much blessing. He does.
And we've got Uthman. Matter of fact, that would have been good while you guys were eating shawarma. You say, "Hey, Sheikh Uthman, you going to lick your fingers, or are you going to have your buddy here lick them?" Because it's weird, because you don't see them doing this, even though their prophet commands this.
He was eating spaghetti, not shawarma, at the event.
Uh-oh. We got Uthman. Everyone knows I can't read. That's true. Similar logic for Muhammad being in the Song of Solomon. Wouldn't Muhammad be a Baptist because he got his Southern baptized? Well, people are weird, man. Guys, there are new people here who are not going to understand your zut jokes.
Yeah.
Just give you guys a crash course. There's some weird hadiths where Muhammad is met in the desert by men of al-Zut, who are like these dark-skinned people from like what's now India and Pakistan. They're like migrant workers, but it said that the hadith says they rode him all night long until he sort of hobbles back to his friend in pain. And it's like, the word rode is like our word, that in that, it would normally refer to like riding an animal or something like that. But if it's used of a person, another person, it means something sexual. And so what is it talking about? These men of al-Zut riding him all night long. It doesn't sound good. So anyway, some people make jokes about that sort of thing. We're more sophisticated. So sadly. Then we have the fine young gentleman seen Bruce Almighty?
Oh,
yes.
I
Okay,
have
good.
not.
Okay.
That's a reference to his. That's a reference to his previous 1v10 debate, and the debate actually during that debate it was kind of interesting because people were told a certain debate topic before the debate, but then he slightly changed it like the day of the debate when they were recording, and so I think the topic was one of the topics was like just general, like, does the Bible teach Jesus is God? And then he modified it to, does the Bible teach Jesus is God Almighty? Or like the Most High or something like that, or it was about the Almighty. And there's not a huge difference there, but then if you kind of take on board like maybe some liberal scholarship or something like that, maybe you can kind of make a case for like there being like these, he's like God, but he's not the Most High, or kind of so he was trying to be very specific. Is he Almighty God? And During the discussion, one of the speakers, his name is Sheikh, or he kind of had a discussion with him about this, and he said that, okay, if someone says that they are almighty, are they claiming to be God? And he just wanted to like make a kind of get a stance first, definitions out there before he showed the verse. He was thinking of Revelation 1:8, where it uses the term the Almighty in reference to Jesus. And before he could get there, Uthman said, well, just because you're called Almighty doesn't mean you're God. He's like, have you guys ever seen the movie Almighty Bruce? He's like, wait, do you mean Bruce Almighty? And like, as you guys know, the whole like premise of the movie is that he's like God for like a week or something like that. And so the point of being called Almighty is actually proof that he's being God, in at least in that movie context. So that's kind of the background to that joke there. If you guys have seen Bruce Almighty, it's just Uthman, one of Uthman's one of his things that he says. Yeah.
Let's see.
The name Muhammad is clearly mentioned in the Bible.
All right, so here's the video as posted on Sheikh Uthman's channel. We'll see how it starts, and then you guys tell me where we want to go with this. Let's see.
Linguistic perspective, when you translate the Bible, that has to be agreed on.
I could concede that point. Yes, from a lexical.
Okay. Are the three in the Trinity equal?
They are co-equal in majesty and power.
But when Jesus says the Father is greater than I.
Yeah, I guess I don't know how to answer that.
Scans of manuscripts from the first generation, from the time of the prophet.
Wait, was that you?
Yeah, so that was both of you guys, right? In the intro?
So you guys are the stars.
Which is funny, he clips us because in the debate, there's so many people who are actively saying that Jesus isn't God. Like, I don't understand why he just didn't clip them. That would have honestly looked better. So it's like weird that he clipped. I don't understand. That doesn't make any sense to me, honestly.
Yeah, and so on the issue of, it's one of their favorite verses. Jesus said, "The Father is greater than I." Good to go through. Start a chapter earlier, chapter 13, and then read chapter 13 and chapter 14. In chapter 13, that's what Jesus puts on like a little play where he takes off his robe, wraps a towel around himself, then washes his disciples' feet, then puts his robe back on. And it's like a little play about, hey, I laid aside my glory to come and cleanse you guys, and then I'm putting my glory back on. And that's the context of that passage in John, is Jesus is telling them, hey, I'm going away, right? They think, hey, we're here in Jerusalem. Jesus is he's the Messiah. He's going to take over. He's going to kill all our enemies, and we're going to rule forever. And he's saying, no, actually, I'm leaving. And they're all bent out of shape because they can't figure out what he means. And it doesn't sound like what they were expecting. And so they're all heartbroken. And he's telling them, no, you should be happy. You should be happy. So that's the same chapter. He calls himself the way, the truth, and the life. He says that if you've seen him, then you've seen the Father. That would only make sense in one of two ways. Either he would be the Father, which he couldn't. If I say, if you've seen me, you've seen the Father, that would either mean that I am the Father, which is clear in John that he is not the Father, or it would mean that you are the same as the Father in some way. So that if I had a twin, an identical twin, and you say, oh, I'd like to meet your brother, and I say, well, if you've seen me, you've seen my brother, something along those lines. And he is clear that he shares the nature and attributes of the Father throughout John. And then so that verse about Jesus saying the Father is greater than I, that's, hey, if you really love me, like you guys say, you should be happy that I'm going back to the glory that I had before I became incarnate. You should be happy. I'm going back to the Father. The Father is greater than I. I've lowered myself now, and I'm going back to where I am. You should be happy. It even says things like, once he goes back, he's going to send the Holy Spirit. Once he returns to his glory, he can answer their prayers. Whatever we ask in his name, he'll do it. He says he answers prayers and so on. So, they're kind of most of apologists are kind of the kings of cherry pickers, picking things just ripping things out of context, when that entire chapter, let alone that entire section of John, it's thoroughly Trinitarian and makes zero sense from an Islamic perspective. But they'll take what they can get. But let's see here.
Peace be upon him, all the way to our generation. Letter by letter, word by word, they're exactly the same. Unlike the Bible, which we don't have any manuscripts from the time of Jesus, even the smaller...
Did he just... Jai, was he saying...
I missed that too.
Was he claiming perfect preservation for the Quran, dot for dot, letter for letter?
That's what it sounded like.
Oh my goodness. Let me see. Please.
I don't know how to answer that.
Scans of manuscripts from the first generation, from the time of the Prophet, peace be upon him, all the way to our generation. Letter by letter, word by word, they're exactly the same. Unlike the Bible, which we don't have any manuscripts from the time of...
Hey, Sheikh Uthman, would you like to prove that? Jai, you and DOC, would you guys be happy to have Sheikh Uthman come and explain, come and show us? We want to see the evidence, Sheikh Uthman. Here, Sheikh Uthman, we think you're lying. You got this boy who cried wolf. See, who knows what the evidence is? Who knows? Who knows what the manuscript evidence is? But you lied so many times that it's this boy who cried wolf situation where if you say, hey, we've got this evidence, we just have to assume you're lying because it's what we see from you every single time. But you could prove us wrong. You could prove that you're honest in this case. You could join us live and show us the proof of perfect preservation. We would love to see it. We'd love to see it. 0% chance you do it. 0%. Why? Because you know you're lying. You absolutely know it. This is sad, man. This is Dawah 2026.
Even the smaller scrap would be 70 to 80, 90 AD. The lineage of Jesus in Matthew and Luke, two different lineages which contradict each other. Those two cannot both be. So if he's a prophet of God and a messenger of God and a servant of God, then he's not God. Unless you believe in multiple gods.
There is not a communication between them in the sense that the human nature can't be fully omniscient.
Jesus has got two personalities, you're saying.
He was one person, the God-man. So he's completely unioned God-man.
Unfortunately, he was voted out by the majority.
Oh, that was great talking to you.
I
was having fun. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Your brother Uthman ibn Farouk here in Louisville, Kentucky, in the South Bible Belt. And we are at the Southern Baptist Theological Seminary, the biggest Baptist Bible university in America. And we're challenging all of the professors, Bible scholars, to a debate. 20 of them have accepted. These are all students and professors from this Bible university. We're going to go debate them at their campus. Let's go do this. 20 versus 1. Bismillah.
Assalamu alaikum wa
Always good to start off your video with as many lies as possible. It's always a good approach. Always a good approach. And this is the guy who was just on with Sig and Jai a little while ago.
Yep.
Let's see.
I'm Amin Hamloushi, your host today, and we have 20 Christians and one Sheikh Uthman ibn Farouk.
20? Wait, so it's not just Sheikh Uthman? He can't count either? And Jai, didn't...
It's 20 Christians as well.
Yeah.
It changed. It changed. The Christians, it went from Christian scholars or professors and students at Southern to now it's just 20 Christians. Which they're not 20 Christians.
Yeah, and Jai, you said you counted how many actually spoke, right? How many were actually
9.
involved?
Yeah, 9 actual speakers. Now, some people had multiple turns, but there were 9 individual speakers that they had on the video at least.
Here I count, looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11... I see 12, but maybe I'm missing something. Maybe 13. Okay. It ain't 20.
But who actually spoke, there were 9 speakers who actually were on the video.
Okay, so guys, just say it was 1,000. Like why not? At this point, why not? Sheikh Uthman, this is Sheikh Uthman debating 1,000 the top 1,000 best Christian scholars who've ever lived. This is Sheikh Uthman debating. Just why? Why not? Why not say that? If you're going to lie, just go all in.
And professors from this Bible university, we're going to go debate them at their campus. Let's go do this. 20 versus 1. Bismillah.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I'm Amin Hamloushi, your host today, and we have 20 Christians and one Sheikh Uthman ibn Farouk here to debate on one topic, Islam and Christianity. For each prompt Sheikh Uthman gives today, we will have 15 minutes on the clock shared between all of our contestants, and they will be able to come up here in this chair and debate him. Whenever the time goes off, the first one to come will be the first one who will be able to discuss with him, and each of them have a flag to vote out any person who they believe needs to be switched out for someone else. Whenever the majority comes, we'll send them back, and someone new will come up and discuss until the time runs out.
One note
believe
on
the Prophet
that
Muhammad.
as well, I think it's important, is there was several times there was someone speaking, and Uthman clearly was taking advantage of the situation, and literally all the flags were up for multiple minutes. And he would not let that person go until Uthman had finished.
Wow.
So even by the rules of the game that he just set, literally there was multiple. It was ridiculous, actually, even experiencing it, because it was all deception.
Wow.
And I still wonder at this point why he brings books when this isn't like, I'm not even like making fun of the guy. He doesn't seem to understand. He either doesn't stand the words he reads off a page, or he's deliberately deceptive with everything he reads off a page. But guys, it is bad. Every time we see him quote anything from a book, it's like you read what it actually says, and it's not what he says. It's not what he claims it says. And very frequently, it's the exact opposite of what he says. And it's just dude, just go without books. Just go without books. Stop appealing to the books, because when you say, "Oh, this book says," this gives us an opportunity, even if it works in the moment because people don't fact check you, it allows us later on to actually pull up the book and say that's the opposite of what it actually says. Why did he lie? Whereas if you're just saying it, if you're just claiming it, then we can't expose you like that. So I don't know, man. It's weird stuff. Let's see.
Peace and blessings be upon him is clearly mentioned in the Bible.
All right, if you would like to debate him on this topic, please go ahead and take a seat.
So the prompt is that Muhammad is clearly stated in the Bible.
Yes.
Awesome. Could you show me some text?
Sure. So
By the way, when was this recorded? By the way, because I noticed you grew out your beard a little bit since.
I've shaved my beard multiple times. This was like 2 months. This was early July, I think.
Oh,
Maybe
okay.
late. Yeah, so it's been a while.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
How much of this do we want to watch? Because it's been over an hour so far. I don't know what people's time constraints are and stuff like that. I'm guessing other people are going to review some of this. So I'm thinking we would watch this section of the debate, go through it, maybe pull up the actual passage and see what it really says. And
we can get all the sources he quotes as well. We can get those together. So
right.
yeah,
ready to check it out? Let's see what we got.
Yeah. So
in the Songs of Solomon, just for preference to understand, a Song of Solomon is according to the Christian Orthodox, the New Orthodox Annotated Bible. This is a prophetic speech, meaning it's not just a love song. And that's why it's one of the most used prayers in Jewish literature. It is a mystical symbolism, is involved in highly figurative language. It is inclusive in the Old Testament to be explained from the prophetic figure of the Lord. So prophetically, it's supposed to be mentioning somebody who is coming as a prophetic figure. The New Annotated Bible also, from Oxford, mentions that this is figurative speech, meaning it's supposed to tell us not just about a love relationship as the words would be, but the allegory is to show the interpretation over the centuries of the Common Era, and this is what was understood by the critical biblical scholars until the 19th century, that this is to show the relationship between God and who he would send to Israel and the people to guide them. So here...
And does everyone see how he does that? He opens a book, he just says what it says, and then he closes the book. Yeah. Everyone is watching who's ever talking to Sheikh Uthman. Every single time you need to do it, you need to say, stop, let me read that. Because he is always misrepresenting what it says. And that's
how he's representing it right now is he's making it sound like this is saying that this is viewed as a prophecy of someone to come when historically Jewish people have associated with God and Israel, and Christians have associated with Christ and his bride, the church. And so this is not like some future kind of figure to come. This is like okay, everybody understands that this is love language, so it's a love book, it's poetry, and to kind of interpret that in like a spiritual way, you can see Christ's love for the church. How he's taking it is, okay, this is actually laying out a prophecy of someone to come in the future. And he's wanting to kind of give the idea that even Christian scholarship is laying the foundation that someone like Muhammad could come, because that's how this is rightly interpreted, when that's not what this is saying at all.
Mm-hmm. And we'll actually go through some of the passage. We'll go through some of the passage, Song of Solomon. But yeah, just to give everyone kind of an overview, you have Song of Solomon, and it's using some sort of, it's Solomon and his bride sort of praising each other's hot bodies quite a bit, and talking a lot about sex, using various kinds of figurative language for talking about sex. It's clear what they're talking about. Eventually, it was just common for people to be kind of giggling and stuff like this when they're quoting these naughty passages from Song of Solomon and so on. And you had some rabbis who were kind of embarrassed by this. So they said, oh, well, it can't really be about husband and wife being really into each other's bodies and stuff like that. It must be figurative language for God's love for Israel. And then Christians had the same kind of issue. It seems kind of naughty here. Seems kind of naughty to be in this holy book. So it must be about something else. It must really be about Christ's love for the church. So Muslims latch on to the fact that Jews and Christians have interpreted this figuratively, but then they'll represent it as Jai was pointing out, oh yeah. So this is a figurative work about a coming prophet, a prophet who's to come. And it's like, are you insane? Are you insane? But let's see what Sheikh Uthman says. Again, Sheikh Uthman, open invitation. You can join us live. You don't even have to give us any time to prepare. We don't need zero time. Just call us up one day when we're live and say you're ready to discuss this. Happy to go through the entire book with you.
In 5:16, the word Muhammad is actually very explicitly written. I brought a printout of the actual, the printout from the lexicon itself. So this is a masculine noun. If you look at the Hebrew English lexicon, and this has the numbers from Strong in it as well. If we were to find the root, and I've highlighted it for you, you see it actually has the word Hamida in Arabic. So it shows that word Muhammad, and it's mentioned as Muhammadim. The im usually implies plural, but it's also used for majesty. For example, Elohim, right? So even in Arabic, for example, when we say salam alaykum, alaykum is for plural, but we do it out of respect. So the name Muhammad is...
There is no plural of respect in Hebrew, guys. So just so everyone knows, that's made up.
Explicitly mentioned,
Yeah.
and even...
Just the idea that this is like... okay, so first of all, it's not Muhammad in Song of Solomon, in Song of Songs here, Song of Solomon. It's Mahmadim. Mahmad is the singular. Mahmad is the singular, which means like something that's desirable or lovely. But the word here, which he said is plural, Muhammadim, not Muhammad, Muhammadim. Anyway, this is in the plural, like he pointed out. There's nowhere anywhere in the Bible where you have someone's name, a name of a person, like David. We have a couple of Davids here. We have Michael here as well. So these are biblical names. You never find like Davidim to like, this is a respectful way to speak about David. This is not in the Hebrew language. You don't add a plural to speak respectfully, or like Michael, Michaelim. That's not the respectful way to talk about Michael. This is like something that Muslims have been saying. Like I think like D. said this and others before him. Maybe I don't know who originated it, but the idea that this im at the end is somehow something to do with respect in the Hebrew language. Like you just, hey, take someone's name, Moses. Okay, Moshe in Hebrew, Moshe im. Oh, that's how you respect Moses in Hebrew. It doesn't exist anywhere in the Hebrew Bible. That's not how you add respect or something to somebody's name. And he makes this mistake when he pulls out the dictionary, and he does this as well with other times as well. But what happens in these lexicons are you have here's the roots in Hebrew. Here's the roots. So you have like the root word chamed, which means to take pleasure or to take desire in, and it says okay, in related Semitic languages like in Aramaic, chamed. Okay, then in Syriac, then in Arabic, hamida. It's telling you these are the cognates in these languages. It's not telling you that this is derived from the Arabic, any more than it's saying this is derived from the Aramaic or something. Because what he's trying to get at here is that okay, the root here is the exact root that Muhammad is built off of in Arabic, and even the dictionaries and lexicons say that this word or this root comes from Arabic, which is it doesn't do that. It's just telling you this is the cognate in Arabic. Any word, you can look up any word in a lexicon in Hebrew, and if there's an Arabic cognate to it, then it's going to tell you this is the Arabic cognate, this is the Ethiopic, this is the Aramaic, this is Syriac form, and that's all that's going on there. So this is not the dictionary supporting the idea that Muhammad is in the Bible. It's saying this is a Hebrew root, and this is the Semitic root. True, the name Muhammad comes from this root, doesn't mean that these are the same, or these are coming from the same origin in terms of being a name of Muhammad or something like that. So this is like a very big deception that he likes to pull on people.
And the overall insanity of this is why would they be so desperate to find Muhammad in the Bible that they would have to kind of resort to stunts like this? And the reason is that the Quran claims that Jews and Christians find Muhammad mentioned in the Torah and the Gospel. Well, their arguments from the Torah and the Gospel are really bad, and so what you find is that then they end up going to like Song of Solomon, and so on. And which is interesting because now Song of Solomon is the Torah, and so you actually get it's actually helpful to us if they want to say the entire Old Testament is the Torah. Then that leads to is the Gospel then the entire New Testament? So are all those inspired scriptures? Thank you very much. But let's see where he goes with this.
A lexicon that was written all by Christians. No, I'm not quoting any Muslim sources here. Says that this word here is the same as Hamida, which is where Muhammad comes from. In the next page, Mahmad.
Really? It says it's the same thing?
Wow.
That's what you just said.
Because there is no deep ha in the Hebrew language, is mentioned here as well as a noun.
By the way, just on a note real quick on that. I don't know why he wanted to throw that in there, but this is also not true. This is like a minor point, but he just like says these things even like on like a just on a factual level, they're just incorrect, but it doesn't really add to the discussion at all. Like saying that there's no so in Arabic, so the ha, there's a ha sound, and then in Hebrew, the letter is chet, so ha, so ha, ha. He's saying like in Hebrew doesn't have this sound, this ha sound, so they use this sound instead. That is true for particular, let's say dialects of Hebrew, like in Israel today, for example. But that's not the case for all Jewish communities, like Jews that live in Yemen or Syria or Iraq or like parts of the Arabic speaking countries. They do pronounce it the same way. So again, this is not like a big deal. Like it doesn't actually prove anything one way or another. But it's just like a factual point that he's wrong on. And there's what I'm saying is there's other ways to pronounce this letter, not just what he's saying here. Not a major point, but just want to throw that out there.
It's not correct to translate nouns, meaning the word David, for example, the name David, is also, the clearly lovely and the most purely beloved. But we don't translate it, right?
Do you guys catch what he just said? It's not correct to translate nouns.
That's ridiculous.
Now, I think what he means is like a proper noun, like a name or something like that. Problem is, Sheikh Uthman, it's perfectly acceptable and proper to translate nouns. And this is definitely a word you would want to translate. It occurs in a number of places in the Old Testament. If you want to say it's actually the name Muhammad, my goodness, you are going to have some problems in life. And we'll check that out here pretty soon.
Bible, we don't say the most beloved, right? We say David. So when the name
I just want to say on this point, there actually was a scholar. Was it what was her name? She's the one who did that book where where they do the study on like the name frequencies in the New Testament and the Dead Sea Scrolls, and they use her work. I can't remember her name right now, but she did this whole volume on like names on like graves, ossuaries, carvings, and inscriptions. And she basically what she did was she documented like all the names like first century, and she goes into like I think up to like this 7th century or something like that, like in Israel. And this is what a lot of people use in the studies for like reliability of the New Testament because of the name frequencies, and these things were correct for it matches up with like 1st century Jewish names. And so like, okay, what's the popular 1st century Jewish name for males and females, and that happens to line up exactly with the New Testament in terms of most popular names, male and female. So this is something that a lot of scholars and apologists will point out, and they reference her work. Well, what's interesting is that she actually gave a number of examples when Jewish people were translating. They would have it's very common for them to have like two names, like a Hebrew name and a Greek name in first century in Israel. And what she pointed out was that it's not actually, a lot of people think that it's not correct. You don't actually translate a name, which is generally speaking, that's true, but there are exceptions to that. She pointed out that there were a number of names where in Hebrew, this was the name. And instead of translating that name instead of transliterating that name into Greek, they would translate it into Greek. So it's not like unheard of. I'm not, again, this is not a major point, but it's just factually incorrect. It's not unheard of to translate a name either. So he's wrong on translating nouns. Of course, you translate nouns, you guys, nouns, person, place, or thing. So like, for example, a desk or something like that. You don't just not translate the word desk in other languages when you're writing or doing translations just because it's a noun. This is like silly. Obviously, he means like proper nouns. He means names, titles, maybe, but that's not even without exception either. There are examples of that. You have like Peter. Peter means rock. Well, he's also called Kefa, which also means rock. So it's not a transliteration from one language to another. It's actually a direct translation. So again, not a major issue, but it's just not correct, not factually correct.
I don't think
he also goes on for at least another 5 or 6 minutes.
Yeah,
so, keep that.
We'll hear out his powerful da'wah here.
Translated as the meaning of the most lovely, rather it should have been kept as it is in the name.
Little side note, guys, the reason it gets translated as he is altogether lovely or something like that is because that's what it means. It means something lovely or desirable.
That is one incident of the mention of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, in the Bible. The second that I can also show is in Isaiah, and this is something that a lot of people have discussed. But before I get to that, I just want to show you something historic, and I like books, so... I brought a manuscript.
Oh, wow.
So this is an actual scan of a
I like books. They're so easy to misrepresent.
handwritten manuscript. So it's not just even a book from a library or bookstore. It's from an actual museum. They scanned it. There's a book called Shifa by Qadi Ayyad, one of the great Islamic scholars. And there's a point I'm bringing here is he mentions
You say Ashifa by Qadi Iyad? That's
Yeah.
Isn't that the one that says if anyone says Muhammad was a black man, kill him?
Yeah, and I think it's untranslated too. He's just like, yeah, he's just like bringing it in Arabic as well. Like this is going to be really helpful to show to people, right?
That's good.
Famous personalities that became Muslim at the time of the Prophet, peace be upon him. One of them is Abdullah ibn Amr ibn al-As. I've highlighted it for you in case you don't know Arabic, but that's okay. And the other is Abdullah ibn Salam and Ka'b ibn Akhbar. That these two, for example, were Jewish scholars. And they, when they read the Bible in the Old Testament, in these scriptures, knew that a prophet was coming. And when they saw the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, in person, quoting this actual verse, they accepted Islam. They became Muslim because they believed that the Prophet Muhammad was clearly mentioned in the Bible.
That's weird. You get some very different stories about what happened there in the Muslim sources. Interesting that he went to Qadi Iyad, considering we have very different versions elsewhere in the Muslim sources.
Could you? I think I might have misheard that, but I just want to be sure. Could you just rewind that one more time? What did he say? The names of the second Jewish scholar was. I think I might have heard it wrong, but.
So it's not just
'Cause it's got it right in front of
a
them.
library or bookstore. It's from an actual museum. They scanned it. There's a book called Shifa by Qadi Iyad, one of the great Islamic scholars. And there's a point I'm bringing here, is he mentions three famous personalities that became Muslim at the time of the Prophet, peace be upon him. One of them is Abdullah ibn Amr ibn al-As. I've highlighted it for you in case you don't know Arabic, but that's okay. And the other is Abdullah ibn Salam and Ka'b ibn Akhbar. That these two,
He
for
did say
example,
that. So his name, and he's got it right in front of him. His name is Ka'b al-Akhbar. He said it's Ka'b bin. Again, it's not a major thing again, but it's just like he's factually wrong on so many little things. It's like you could just do a whole stream just talking about these mistakes. He has the book right in front of him and doesn't even read the person's name correctly. Ka'b al-Akhbar. Not Ka'b bin Ahbar or whatever. However so anyway, this is supposedly like a Jewish, person who converted to Islam, early Jewish person who converted to Islam. Which, by the way, Muhammad said, according to the Hadith, that if he could get 10 Jewish people to convert to Islam, just 10, then all the Jews would convert. So he found it really difficult to convert Jews. So just throwing that out there.
were Jewish scholars. And they, when they read the Bible in the Old Testament, in these scriptures, knew that a prophet was coming. And when they saw the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, in person, quoting this actual verse, they accepted Islam. They became Muslim because they believed that the Prophet Muhammad was clearly mentioned in the Bible. So here, when we look at the reference here,
do you know what else they said?
He says, "I will."
Do you know what else he said? These alleged Jewish converts to Islam, they said that one of the signs that confirmed to them that Muhammad was a prophet was that he had a mole on his back, and they took that to be the seal of the prophet, the seal of prophet. They took it to be like a literal seal, and they believed that because he had a mole on his back, this was a physical mole on his back, that this was a literal seal of prophethood, and they said that this. They connected it to you don't know exactly where they're coming from, but you do have this concept of, that in Daniel chapter 9, verse 24, that, when the Messiah comes, he's going to seal prophecy in vision. So he's like the seal of the prophets. According to the Bible, that's the Messiah. Muhammad said of himself that he was the seal of the prophets, and they took that as a physical sign. So here these Jewish people supposedly convert to Islam because he has a mole on his back. Like, this is not something that we should take seriously.
Yeah, those are some of the passages where I just got to call bull on. It's like really, really bad. It's along the lines of Muhammad shooting water out of his fingers and stuff like that in the Hadith, where the Quran, which is earlier, repeatedly says he couldn't perform any miracles. So it's clear they're just making stuff up later as proof. And what's crazy is, here we are, 14 centuries later, And they still just make things up, right? They'll still just make up evidence like, oh, the Quran's been perfectly preserved, dot for dot, letter for letter. It's completely made up. And you look at, even at the stage of the hadith and so on, they're just making stuff up. They would make stuff up like it's a sport to defend Islam. Crazy stuff.
My spirit upon him, my beloved servant. So who is being discussed? A lot of people might say this is a reference to Jesus coming in the future, or somebody might say to John the Baptist. But when we look at the references here,
Who says John the Baptist?
it says here that he will be a light to the Gentiles, right? And as you are well versed, you know that in Matthew 15:24, Jesus mentioned that he was sent to the lost sheep of Israel. In fact, if you keep going in the same verses, you will find.
You catch this, guys? Jesus says he was sent to the lost sheep of the house of Israel. See, therefore, not for anyone else. How about continuing reading the exact same book, Sheikh Uthman, till the end? You know, when Jesus gives the Great Commission, he says, "Go into all the world, make disciples of all nations."
That's actually what he goes on to say. That's what Michael goes on to say.
Nice.
But what's interesting is that he said this is something that people apply to Jesus, like as if like we're just like coming out of nowhere and applying it to Jesus. And he says, or John the Baptist. But what's funny is in Matthew 12, Jesus is literally the fulfillment there, that it might be fulfilled, which was spoken by Isaiah the prophet, saying, "Behold, my servant whom I have chosen, my beloved, and whom my soul is well pleased. I will put my spirit upon him," etc. So this is actually quoting Isaiah 42 in application and fulfillment of Jesus. So this idea that, you know, it's John the Baptist, I don't know where you came up with that one. Not sure where you heard that one.
Yeah, that's just Sheikh Uthman being Sheikh Uthman there. Also interesting is that Isaiah 42, that passage there, is one of it's one of the servant songs, and there are four. There are four of the servant songs. There are four of these servant songs about the Messiah, and interestingly, the last one is Isaiah 53, where he suffers for he's punished for the sins of others. Interesting.
That the reference to the villages of Kedar, and the inhabitants of Salah sing, let them shout from the tops of mountains. So where's Kedar? I mean, if we look at it as a reference to Jesus, then Kedar should be somewhere either in Jerusalem or Palestine. But according to, and again, this is the Smith's Bible Dictionary, so I'm not using any Muslim sources here, Kedar is a name that was given to the second son of Ishmael, from whom the Arabs came, from the tribe of Arabs. And they are the ones that gathered in Mecca. So the tribes seems to have been of the conspicuous of all of the Ishmaelite Arabs that came together, and they were all collectively called Kedar. So Kedar is a reference to Arabs in Mecca. And Sal'a, which there's a lot of discussion on where it is, but I've actually been to a place where you can see it, and I brought a printout for you. You can Google map it if you like. Sal'a is a mountain in Medina.
That was cool story.
Hold on, one second. You guys have traveled. You guys know that two locations can have the same name. It doesn't mean that it's like, I mean, this is crazy. It's like I'm going to be going to Cambridge, and I'm thinking about Massachusetts, but actually no, I'm talking about Cambridge in England. I mean, it's the idea that, you know, two places have the same names. Like, oh, I've been to a place called Salah, so therefore that must be the same place. That's not how this works. You don't just get to decide where a location is because, you know, these places have the same names, but it's about, you know, archaeology. Different historians will, you know, let you know, and they tell you that these are pretty much areas in maybe northern Arabia, which by the way is considered like Jordan, like Petra area. This is where it's in reference to, not in, you know, Mecca, Medina. So the idea that he's like, oh, I've been to a place called Salah before, and it doesn't even say that in the verse, by the way. It says, sing to the Lord a new song, and his praises from the ends of the earth. Mm-hmm. So let me just give you guys the idea here, in case it wasn't clear with what Uthman was trying to communicate here. So in verse 11, it says that
Hey, yo, Jai, go ahead and break that down real quick. I just wanted to check and make sure my wife is home, because otherwise, I just want to make sure she's here. I'll be right back.
Okay, so basically the idea here is in Isaiah 42, verse 11, because it says the villages that Kedar inhabits, the inhabitants of Salah sing that they think that the servant being spoken about is going to come from Kedar. Like he's going to be an Arab. That's what they're trying to say. He's an Arab. He's from Kedar. He's from this tribe, and also Salah. And they're trying to link this to modern day Saudi Arabia. But if that's the logic, where because a location is mentioned, the villages that Kedar inhabits or the inhabitants of Salah, that means that the servant is going to be coming from those locations. Just read the rest of the passage. Starting in verse 10, actually. Let's go to verse 10. Sing to the Lord a new song and his praise from the ends of the earth. Okay, so is the servant from the ends of the earth? You who go down to the sea. Oh, so the sea now. So is the servant from the sea and all that is in it? You coastlands and you inhabitants of them. So is he from the coastlands? Is he from the ends of the earth? Is he from the sea? Let the wilderness and its cities lift up their voice. So is he from the wilderness or is he from the cities? Obviously, that's not what it's saying. It's not saying this is where he's from. It's saying these are where, it's basically saying that the entire world is going to praise God and bring glory to God because of this servant. It's not telling you that he's going to come from Kedar or Salah. That's the argument that he's trying to bring there. So yeah. So yeah. All right. So yeah. So I don't know. After you guys had this discussion, I know this was you said early July. How much did you guys like go back afterwards and were like, oh, let's look this stuff up and kind of fact check things? Were you guys interested in doing that, or how did that kind of go for you guys?
I mean, pretty much immediately after. I mean, the conversation just seemed really silly, honestly. Like, where we are at an actual academic institution that's accredited, you have actual conversations that are fact-checked. And I'm just not used to such conversations that are, one, fallacious, and two, that are usually logical fallacies. So I think pretty much after it, there wasn't a ton of thought and research gone into it, just because his first premise is that Jesus is a Muslim. The Bible not only shows that Jesus is a Muslim, but that also Muhammad is the promised prophet, and apparently Mecca and Medina are in there, and so you should be Muslim. And then his second premise is, but the Bible's totally corrupted, and it's not reliable. So his second premise actually fully destroys the first premise. So it was pretty much afterwards, it was like, okay, what he's arguing is completely logically inconsistent. And he's not an actual scholar, because if he was, he would have read the literature that shows that his arguments for textual criticism are just really bad. Especially there's a great book called Myths and Mistakes in New Testament Textual Criticism by Elijah Hickson. And that book pretty much just like dispels everything that Uthman said in the conversation. So I don't know, that was my thoughts preceding the conversation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. And David, what was your discussion about, and what was your kind of like takeaway, or like, I'm going to look this stuff up if he said anything to you that you weren't familiar with or whatever, and then what did you conclude after that happened?
Yeah, well, my conversation with him kind of revolved around two things. It was me asking him like if there was any mystery or kind of seeming contradiction within Islam, and I kind of went down that line of questioning just to hear what he was going to say, because I had heard that Muslims do believe in kind of a type of determinism, if we're talking about models of free will and God's sovereignty. So I was like, I mean, surely that would be some kind of, room for paradox or mystery on their account. And he just kind of said, no, there's no mystery. And I was like, okay. But the other part of it was him asking me kind of the line of questioning that David touched on beforehand about, Jesus in his humanity saying, the Father is greater than I. And yeah, I mean, I wish I had answered better than I did, if I'm honest. I didn't totally know how to answer that. I just kind of knew what Orthodox Trinitarianism and Christology would say in that moment. And it did kind of make me want to look more into, okay, historically, how have Christians kind of answer these questions? Because it's not the first time that this has come up for someone. I mean, Jesus speaking in these ways does raise questions, and Unitarians will pick at it, and Muslims will pick at it. And so, yeah, they're lines that I would really like to look into more. And I know that there are great answers out there. I just haven't taken the time to look at them yet.
On your question there, because I did see that part, and he said like there's no mystery in Islam. If you write this down, it's spelled Bila, and then space K, Kayf. Kayf. It's called Bila Kayf. And what that means is without howness. And what Muslims will say is, for example, like there's a hadith that says that at the third of every night, Allah descends down to the lowest part of. Wait, did I get that wrong? Yeah, the third part of the night he descends down to the lowest part of the lowest part of the heavens, right, David? I'm getting these things mixed up in my head. I think it's the third part of the night, the lowest heavens. Yeah. So he descends down, and so what Muslims will say is they'll say that he does descend, but we don't know how. So there is this great mystery in Islam. It's called without howness, bila kayf, which means like, okay, yes, Allah does that, but they don't also want to affirm that he's like, entering into creation and like coming down, but they don't know how he does it, but he does it, right? And so like he's coming down to like listen to the prayers, but how does he do that? Well, we don't know. And there's a number of things where, once you kind of dig into Islamic theology, there's going to be a ton of, we don't know how. In fact, there's a famous thing where they say like Allahu Alam, like only God knows. Like the idea there's no mystery in Islam for things is completely untrue. When he said no, there's no mystery, that's false. But I know you guys have about 10 minutes or so, but I wanted to ask you guys this question, and then whatever David has, whatever he wants to ask you, and then whatever you guys want to say, you guys, afterwards. But has this kind of sparked an interest for you guys, or everyone has like an origin story for like how did they get into studying Islam and stuff? Like David can tell you his story, I can tell you my story, and a lot of people have like their backgrounds. How did I get into studying Islam? Is this going to become like one of your origin stories for like, all right, I met this guy Uthman, and he tried to embarrass me on this video and stuff, and I just kind of like, I'm gonna now go to the Islamic Center and study now, and I'm gonna like become like an apologist for Muslims or whatever. Like what do you guys think? Do you guys think you guys feel called to do that, motivated to do that, or where do you guys stand on that? Or do you just take it as an experience and you're just kind of seeing where the Lord takes you with it?
I think it was unique personally for me. I think hearing all of the other quote unquote Christians in the video who all, like many of them, deny Trinitarianism, I think more was, shocking to me. It was more sad to see that in the room than I expect a Muslim to not understand the Bible or to misrepresent Jesus. But I was shocked that there was a Unitarian pastor, and actually several of the people there were his congregants, and he's leading them astray. So I think it was more a sadness experiencing that these people are believing in heretical doctrine, and the really
you're saying that the Unitarian pastor, that these were his congregants there?
Several were. So
really?
Wait. You mean several people sitting in there, or several people of the 13 or whatever?
Two of the other people besides the Unitarian pastor were his congregants. So the guy who has a brown shirt goes up, and Uthman's like, the Trinity, and the guy goes, I don't believe in that polyistic stuff. Jesus isn't God. And then there's another guy where they talk about textual criticism, and Uthman makes a joke about him being a pastor being immoral, and the guy goes, well, I hope not, because my pastor's right there, and he points at the Unitarian pastor. So maybe they cut that out. I don't know. I haven't watched the whole video, but there was two people at least I know there.
This is actually serious. Like, I was just thinking in terms of like, hey, he needs to be exposed, but I mean, Southern could take this seriously. He's representing this as these are all professors and students at Southern Seminary, and the impression you'd get is they have a bunch of Unitarians there and who knows what else.
Wow.
And it's like that would seriously tarnish the reputation of your school. And if that's spread around, would cause people, oh, okay, I don't want to go to this place. I don't want to go to this place. I don't want to send my kids to this place if they, are teaching Unitarianism over there. So yeah, that's
crazy. Well,
interesting.
by the way, I know that
it's-
there is one guy as well who said like he doesn't even know if he believes in God anymore. Remember there was one guy who said that?
Yeah, that's why it was like when I walked away, it was more, I was like, people really need good, robust theology. People need pastors who know what they're talking about. There's actually a great need for theological education amongst people who call themselves Christians. And that's kind of what I felt a stronger calling to walking away.
Great. Okay, that's something. So then, wow. So I'm just wrapping my head around that. So 3 Unitarians, one guy who said he doesn't even know if he believes in God anymore.
I'm
That's
Presbyterian. Like, I go to Southern, but I am Presbyterian, so I would
yeah.
not even be able to be a professor at Southern because I'm a Presbyterian.
Wow. Yeah, and then so the people who said like they didn't like they believe the Bible had contradictions. Were they also a part of the Unitarian congregation, or were they just separately?
The guy with the nose ring who had the white shirt on specifically said that his pastor was the Unitarian pastor.
Okay. Wow. So
Yeah.
we're talking about like, so 2 people were saying that they don't even believe like the Bible is infallible. 3 people, Unitarians. One guy said he doesn't even believe in God anymore. He's not sure if God exists. That's like more than half of at least the people that were on the video. It's like the more we find out about this stuff, it's like the crazier it is. But I know you guys got about 5 minutes here. So yeah, David, what is your kind of takeaway from that? What was your kind of big, do you feel called to do something, or do you feel like, anything that God's calling you to do, or how did you take this experience?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of walked away from it wondering what kind of a serious Muslim apologetics would look like. And so I wasn't necessarily super interested in engaging with this kind at a serious level, but I know that one of the professors at Southern has written a concise guide to Islam, and I actually have the book. When he published it, I got a discount on it at Southern, and so I was like, I should read that. But it really prompted me to think more. So my area that I took the most classes in elective-wise was systematic theology. I took a class on Trinitarianism and on salvation, and I am kind of more interested in like some of the philosophical categories of how that works. And so it prompted me to really like be like, yeah, I should really know my stuff about how to work through the biblical texts, all kind of the major ones, and just do more work in that area.
Okay.
And then there was Issa. So
this is our resident, not your traditional Muslim friend who always kind of joins the live streams randomly. So he's just coming in to say hi. He's not combative or argumentative at all.
yeah, if you're looking for
I'm your
like
goofy.
if you're looking for like nice, honest guy and stuff like that, that would be Issa. Sadly, lots of Muslims looked more to people like Sheikh Uthman, who is a compulsive liar. That's one of the sad things.
Pleasure to meet you. What's your name? I'm so sorry I didn't. The 2 gentlemen here.
Hi, I'm David, and this is Michael.
Hi, David. Hi, Michael.
Nice to meet you.
Pleasure.
Yeah, good to meet you.
Yeah, I saw the debate. It was terrible. He was very dishonest as usual. So,
By the way, he's a Muslim saying this. So,
but it's always funny because how like we interact with people who's like, oh, you've been humiliated, you got destroyed, yeah, and then he's like, hi, what's your name? It cracks me up. Yeah. So guys, so you kind of got your first big impression of Dawah, which is basically like it's sort of like a combination of apologetics and evangelism. It's inviting people to Islam and you look at you look at how they go about it and so on. But what are your overall thoughts on your first impression of Dawa?
I mean, as it's been represented by Uthman, I think there's significant problems. One, his arguments were not philosophically sound or valid. There was many holes in a lot of his arguments, and I think that if he wants to at least put up a good front or a good image for Islam or for Dawa, then he needs to do a better job. Because I think the only audience a lot of his content only applies to is people who already believe in it. Because I kind of doubt there is any like atheist or Christian who would watch this and be like, the truth of Islam is amazing. Like, I think it would more be like, this is really odd and weird. So I think just from a purely practical and philosophical level, like, he has a lot of work to do.
You kind of picked up on something already that we've picked up on for a while, and that's that if you go back like 15 years, Dawa was geared towards convincing non-Muslims that Islam is true. So they would get like these sort of gentlemanly, scholarly types who would give arguments for Islam. And what happened was all of a sudden, because of the internet, then people started exposing the arguments more and more. And they ended up with what they call, they're the ones who called it that. They called it the avalanche of apostasy. They said, we're getting an avalanche of the people who are leaving Islam. And it was just people who they'd heard something all their lives, and all of a sudden they see videos completely exposing it as a lie. And you had tons of, especially young Muslims, just leaving Islam. And after a while, Dawa shifted from convincing non-Muslims that Islam is true. It shifted towards convincing Muslims not to leave Islam. But the people who sort of went in that direction, they started doing what was impressive to like just average Muslims and so on. And what impressed average Muslim was stuff that you see like, Muhammad's mentioned by name in Song of Solomon 5:16. They go, whoa, amazing. Whereas anyone who's actually, going to be remotely critical and is going to look things up is going to be like, what? You guys are liars, man. You guys are like horribly deceptive. I don't trust you guys anymore. And so this is kind of the result of all of that. Now you have arguments that, these arguments, they're really not, they're not going to convince non-Muslims really. But they kind of keep Muslims thinking that there's all this evidence for Islam. And it's just not going well for them because as time goes on, more and more people are catching on and exposing this. If you go back 15 years, there were very few people who were examining these arguments and pointing out the flaws and stuff like that. Now, every time they bring them up, people point out the problems. And so it's the walls are closing in on Dawa. So, Jai, were you saying they had to take off around now?
Yeah, you guys get a.
Oh, just
now,
before.
right?
Yeah. If you guys needed to head out before, because we're about to go back and go through the video and stuff. But
do you mind if I share one thing with the gentleman too? I think there's something that was critical of why I think Sheikh Uthman really failed on. Actually, his whole argument collapses based. Sheikh Uthman's argument is that he talks about like the Mahmadim. He tries to bring up like the language, and he says, look, this language is here, and he says, look, the Bible doesn't say what you think it says. The problem with all of his positions is that he also believes that the Bible is corrupted. That's his intrinsic belief. He thinks the Torah, the Psalms, and the Gospel are all corrupted. If that is true, then he can't talk about any of these texts. And I loved when David did that in the debate with Jake. He's like, you don't think it's true, so you can't talk about it. And that's completely right. He has no right to talk about these texts because he thinks they're corrupted. He doesn't have any litmus test or standard to know what these texts are. He's not a scholar of these texts. He doesn't know Greek. He doesn't know Hebrew. He doesn't know any of this stuff. And he's coming in to talk about this stuff. And he's like, look, there's this word that sounds like Muhammad. It's Mahmadim. We can't prove that. He can't prove they're the same thing, and he doesn't even believe they're true. So if you don't believe it's true, then why are you even here to have this debate? That's where I think everything collapses and falls in on his argument.
Yeah, that's a great point. And like one thought is like even just, you know, if Allah is kind of who he says he is, I don't know why he kind of needs to deceive people this way. Like Allah doesn't need someone to deceive people into becoming Muslim on his behalf. Like he would be all powerful God and could do what he wants. So it's just kind of, yeah, a weird way to go about it, a weird tactic to take in trying to deceive people into, you know, staying Muslim when it's like, hey, you know, the God that I supposedly serve is like the greatest being there ever is.
Yeah, and you just picked up on something else that we pointed out many times. It's the truth. If Islam were the truth, it would not need this. It would not need these tactics. It would not need complete misrepresentations of the evidence and so on. And on the issue you guys brought up earlier that you said you wanted to talk to Uthman about, you know, as far as mysteries and determinism and Islam. Yeah, you have all these passages where if you go astray, it's because Allah led you astray. And if you are on the right path, it's because Allah put you on the right path. And if you do right, it's because Allah made you do right. If you do wrong, it's because Allah made you do wrong. And I have a friend, Mary Harp. I haven't looked at the timeline of these revelations. But she says that this all, it's basically you have passages in the Quran which sound like you have free will, and it's just like your choice, and you're the one. It sounds like you have libertarian free will, and you've got all these other passages where nope, anything you do, it was all decided by Allah long before you were born. Everything you were ever going to do, and she points out that this shift lines up with Muhammad's uncle dying. He was trying to convince his uncle to believe in Islam. His uncle didn't, and he died as an unbeliever. And Muhammad took this as, I failed. I failed to persuade him that Islam is true. That's when Muhammad starts getting the revelations. No. It's Allah who decided long before you were ever born what this man was going to believe, and that he was going to die as an unbeliever. And so this was all, the shift in the Quranic revelations were all to comfort Muhammad for his hurt feelings. But yeah, so but at the end of the day, that does lead to a mystery, because Allah has decided everything we're going to do. In fact, in the Hadith, there's this interesting little debate. It's all from Muhammad, so it's not actually Moses and Adam, but Moses and Adam are criticizing each other, and Moses criticizes Adam for sinning and for getting them kicked out of paradise and so on. And so Adam responds, he's like, why are you blaming me for something that Allah decided I was going to do long before I was ever born? And so Adam confuted Moses. So that was the refutation. Like, hey, why are you blaming me for what I did? I didn't decide to do that. Allah did. And so, yep, you do. Point is, there are some issues there.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you guys for having us on.
All right.
Yeah, thanks for joining
David,
us. Yeah.
Yep.
Thank you so much. We really enjoyed it. It was a pleasure to be on.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And hey, as far as you guys, no worries. This happens to everyone who starts engaging with Islam. They bring up stuff. It's new. That's why they want it recorded, because they don't want to record later after you look it up, right? They want to record right then. But on the bright side, they pull these stunts, and then we expose them later, and then it shows more people kind of what the deal with dawah is, and that it pretty much always involves deception of one kind or another. So more and more people are catching on to that, and this is just the latest example here.
Awesome.
Right.
Thank you, guys.
All right, guys.
Thanks for coming, guys. God bless you.
Bye.
Right. Now, Issa, get ready for this. We're going to check out Sheikh Uthman's case for Muhammad in the Bible. Probably all we'll cover. Matter of fact, let's take these super chats real quick. Couldn't even read you guys' perverted super chats because we had these new guys, and we don't want them corrupted by your sick, evil stuff. It's bad enough that Issa has to be here for all this stuff, and Jai, my goodness. But two brand new guys, and one of them's a student. You guys are like, oh, what about the suit and the leather straps? Yeah. Thank you, guests, for joining. Welcome. Don't read the Hadith Mishkat al-Masabi 315. That's another eyes of the leather strap of the anus Hadith. Don't be ashamed of your cult, Mr. Sagat. Well, you guys kind of make it hard not to be ashamed of all your like horrible perverted jokes. D Wood having to explain zut jokes. Yeah, that's what happens. Every time we got someone new on here, I got to explain all the jokes. Oh, the innocence we all had before we learned what is in the Quran. Welcome to the welcome to the club, lads. Yeah.
Yeah.
We all have to learn it. But my goodness, ignorance was bliss. It was great not knowing about all this weird, creepy stuff in their sources. One, the host has nice monk dress. Two, I hope this experience will motivate them to now learn counter Islam. Three, D Wood, do they know why you got into Islam? Oh, darn, I should have read some of these before they left because some of them are related to these guys. How many lies if you say Sheikh Uthman ibn Farouk? Why he is in the sunglasses? Yeah, I wonder that too. These guys want to look cool or something. First time I heard of this argument, I was boggled that they would insert him into a book about love and sex, but now it makes sense to me. Yeah, makes sense. Onomastic congruence. Mm-hmm. 2 of the 3 Jews deconverted by the end. You can't trust an Uthman printout. Maybe Muslims haven't changed much, and Jewish scholar just means they could read. Every Christian is a missionary. David, tell them about Yafor the gay donkey. No. Why do you want? You got to find that out like 5 years down the road. I started my MA in Islamic Studies at Southern today, and in class we watched part of Sheikh Uthman's video.
Oh,
that's
cool.
good, guys. That's good. I mean, they're showing the video there. So Sheikh Uthman's trying to impress his fans, but tons of people there. Once they find out about that, which guess what? It's going to be everyone at Southern, right?
Mm.
They're all sitting there going. They're all sitting there going. That's what these guys do. They pretend like they're taking on the scholars of Southern when there's not a single scholar, a single professor from here involved in this. What? This is what dawah is. This is what liars these guys are. Meanwhile, Sheikh Uthman, ha ha, I got it, and his fans, oh yeah, he destroyed Southern Seminary.
It was very dishonest. I was actually watching today. I'm so glad that you're streaming on it. And I was hoping you would. And I saw it and I was like, I hope David and Jai look at this because it was so bad. And it was so dishonest. It was so deceptive. And what he did is he had a young person come up there too. Like he had it looked like a teenager. And it's like, that's so dishonest. The person is, he has his belief and then he keeps, wanting him to come up and he doesn't know the answers to these questions. And the thing is that Sheikh Uthman has a script that he's working off of, and he's using, and we've heard this script. It's an old script. It's an ineffectual script.
It's called the Dawah
saying,
script. We call it the Dawah script.
Remember when we had our conversation in Texas, we talked about the Dawagandas, and it's like, it's so bad. It's like, literally they talk about, it's the same stories. Like they have nothing new. Like, this is something that I've seen, unfortunately, in the Muslim world. It's a critique that I see where it's like what these folks are really good at doing is memorizing things. So they can memorize and regurgitate, right? So they say, okay, I memorized a bunch of stuff and I can regurgitate this talking point. But when it comes to like critical thinking and reasoning and logic, they can't do these types of things. So you say, hey, here's this point. Can you critically deconstruct your position, right? They can't do it. They don't know how to do it. Like, they're like, for example, they're like, well, Christianity is this fraudulent religion because this guy died for your sins and it's so dumb and it's so bad, right? And then you say, well, look at this hadith. The hadith says that the Jews and Christians will take the sins. What do you think about this position? And they're like, oh, they're going to go to hell. And it's like, you know that you look like an extremely unethical, you know, pretty diabolical person when you take that position, right? Like, in fact, you not only have you lost what you thought your argument was, you've made yourself look really bad from it. So it's like they don't know how to engage this. They don't know how to engage the arguments that come, and really all he does is he just spews these arguments. And this is what I felt. I think he's a very good
Uh,
like who's
Wait, what
at a sleazy
hey,
car dealership.
hey, your voice cut out
Oh, oh,
for a few seconds there, Issa.
sorry. It must be my phone sometimes
No, I think it
connects,
was just
but
no, I think it was like internet issue. Yeah,
so,
go ahead.
so the point is, I feel that Sheikh Uthman is sort of like a sleazy car salesman.
Mm-hmm.
So what the sleazy car salesman does is that they have this, like, I don't know if you know, like the book Matilda by um what's his name, uh Dahl. Yeah, his name is Dahl. But in the book, it's like she has like magical powers, but her dad is this sleazy car salesman, and it goes really into depth. But basically, what the sleazy car salesman does, they have this bum car that they know doesn't work, so they make the car look like it can kind of function a little bit, but it's a lemon. It's a car that won't actually really function after a while. But what the sleazy car salesman does is they make it look kind of attractive. They make it look like it's drivable, right? So this is what I feel Sheikh Uthman does. He's super confident. So he comes in with a lot of confidence. He's like, I have this broken down car that really can't work, but I'm going to make you believe that this car can work. I'm making you believe that this car can, go for another 5 years, even though it can't go another week, right? So he sells these arguments, and it's like, look, it says Mahmadim. It says all of this stuff. And it's so right because I'm so confident. I can lie through confidence and deceive you through my confidence, and you'll believe me, like a really low tier type of politician where they're just deceiving you. And yeah, I think he's a great sleazy car salesman, and I think that's what he's doing. He's selling us a lemon, and he wants us to think it's a Rolls Royce.
Hey, Jay.
Yo.
I'm thinking. I made a video response to the Song of Solomon thing years ago. Had a little problem with YouTube. Had to fight with them a bit over it because I titled it something like "Zakir Naik proves Muhammad was a necrophile" or something like that. Because
I see.
yeah, because Song of Solomon chapter 7 verse 10. So they're saying that the beloved is Muhammad, but she says that the same woman who's the same bride of Solomon who's speaking in 5:16, where Muhammad, according to Muslims, is the beloved. She says in chapter 7 verse 10, "I belong to my beloved, and his desire is for me." Well, if the beloved is Muhammad, then Muhammad's desire is for Solomon's bride. One, that would be adulterous thoughts, but they don't have any problem with that with Muhammad. But it would mean that his desire was for a woman who'd been dead for over 1,500 years. And guess what? Someone who's attracted to a dead person is what we call a necrophile. So anyway, YouTube got mad at me for using the word necrophile. I don't know why that's a no word, especially when I'm kind of making fun of someone's argument and so on. But if Sheikh Uthman's trying to revive this argument, this might be a good time to kind of remake that video. What about Sheikh Uthman? Because Zakir Naik's kind of completely obsolete nowadays. But Sheikh Uthman might need to remake that.
Yeah, I think so. We got plenty of material from this in the vocab one. So yeah, definitely lots to go off of. So yeah.
Then we have Uthman's defense when he stands before Jesus at the great white throne on Judgment Day can be summed up in 2 words. My bad. He always says that when he's exposed for lying. Hey, my bad. Maybe it was Pinniped seal and Momo had flippers. Oh, an actual seal. Can you go through a few Bible passages with the word Mahmad in it as altogether lovely. Yeah, we'll look at 2 verses, guys. We'll look at 2 verses.
Yeah.
Well, we'll look at 3, counting 5:16, but we'll look at a couple verses when we after we listen to his argument. Or do we need to listen to it? Is he going to?
I can go through a couple right now if you want. I got them up.
Oh, passages. Oh yeah. Let's finish the super chats and then we'll bring up some passages, guys.
Yeah.
So yes, surf casting is golden. We got you, man. We got you. Went to this mountain and got a Google Earth print. Oh, you're talking about the Medina thing. Yeah, Salah. Yeah, guys, Salah. And Salah, there's a hill in Medina called Salah. Yeah, it's also a major city of the Edomites who... Salah is a place that's mentioned multiple times in reference to the Edomites. The idea that it's actually talking about a hill in Medina. Yeah, sure it is. J Idea. If you have ChatGPT subscription or API, you can feed it all the hadiths and help Mary do analysis of timelines and people to use to find stuff. Interesting.
Good idea.
Mo turned into Waterman after the night of Al-Zut. Then we've got, it was Allah interfering with the audio. Oh, yeah. You got it. All right, Jai. So do we want to go back to Sheikh Uthman or do we just want to check? Do we want to evaluate the argument here?
I kind of marked down some timestamps, but it wasn't really like anything that to like refute arguments. It was more like people, like one guy who said he doesn't believe in God anymore, or he's like struggling to believe in God. It was like stuff like that to show like, okay, guys, these weren't students or professors. Some of them aren't even Christians, and so I don't have any of the marks for like arguments. But
I know. I just meant
getting
this.
into Isaiah 42. Yeah,
I just meant this particular. Maybe we just want to go through Song of Solomon 5:16, then we can respond to other stuff. You might want to, because this would kind of be most helpful for like Southern, because I'm sure they don't like the idea that they just got represented as being this like heretical place where their greatest scholars are actually Unitarians and stuff like that, and people who don't actually believe in the Bible or all of it or something like that. But it wouldn't be terribly difficult to make like a nice, concise, like 10 to 12 minute video showing what Sheikh Uthman said about it, showing how Muslims interpret it, the clip of Libiano, and then pointing out not a single professor from one, it wasn't 20 people. 2, it didn't take place there. 3, there were no scholars from Southern who were represented. There were only 2 people, one who's a current student and one who used to be a student there. And yeah, something short and shareable might help expose him.
Actually, we're working on something right now, clipping up the discussion with Amin right now, and we're probably going to add in some things from here as well.
Oh yeah,
and
I saw some of what Amin was saying. It's like, gosh, dude, how do you?
So I was thinking I'll give like a little introduction and just like let the clips play, you know. And so I think that will be useful. We could send it out and see if people, are interested in doing anything else, because like you said, there is a lot of misrepresentation there for Southern, and even if it's not a legal thing, it should just be like, I don't know, I don't know how they want to go about it, but if they want to do anything, we can just help them out in any way we can. So we'll put up the clips together and see whatever happens.
We're here to help, guys, and for my part, I will make a response to Sheikh Uthman on Song of Solomon 5:16, because it should be massively embarrassing to Muslims. It should be massively embarrassing to Muslims. I know you got some stuff, Jai, but let me go ahead and pull up some passages. It'll take me a few seconds to kind of pull up each passage, because I have them elsewhere from a presentation where I brought up some of these. But check out what we got here. No, hang on. That was part of the same one, but that was on John. So this is from a presentation on Muhammad and the Bible. But here we go. Here's the verse, guys. Song of Solomon, chapter 5, verse 16. His mouth is sweetness itself. He is altogether lovely. This is my beloved. This is my friend, daughters of Jerusalem. So the claim is that altogether lovely here is the name Muhammad. So this should say, his mouth is sweetness itself. He is Muhammad. This is my beloved. This is my friend, daughters of Jerusalem. Notice who she says is her beloved here. If they're saying that's Muhammad, then Muhammad is the beloved of Solomon's wife. Okay, that's good to know. But let's check this out a bit. So we see what's going on here. How is your, so this is earlier in the passage. How is your beloved better than others, most beautiful of women? How is your beloved better than others that you so charge us? And she goes on to a description. Oh, no, hang on. I kind of have, sorry, I have these kind of out of order, and I'm pulling them up, and they're all marked. They're all marked as Song of Solomon, but they're not in order the way I'm pulling them up. I didn't know I'd be pulling all these up. But
brother, there's a problem here. There's a bad word in here.
Hmm.
There's a word that says Israel. He doesn't like Israel.
Oh,
but
yeah.
It says Israel in this in this passage. So he can't accept this because he's against it.
Yeah. So, guys, this is from chapter 3 here. This is from chapter 3, where they tell you who they're talking about. They tell you who they're I mean, it's at the beginning. It says this is, song. This is the song, which is Solomon's. But look at this. They tell you exactly who they're talking about. Who is this coming up from the wilderness, like a column of smoke, perfumed with myrrh and incense made from all the spices of the merchant? Look. It is Solomon's carriage, escorted by 60 warriors, the noblest of Israel, all of them wearing the sword, all experienced in battle, each with his sword at his side, prepared for the terrors of the night. You got this so far? So, talking about Solomon here. King Solomon made for himself the carriage. He made it of wood from Lebanon. Its posts he made of silver, its base of gold, its seat was upholstered with purple, its interior inlaid with love. Its interior inlaid with love. Daughters of Jerusalem, come out and look, you daughters of Zion. Look on, who? Muhammad? No. Look on King Solomon wearing a crown, the crown with which his mother crowned him on the day of his wedding, the day he rejoiced. We figuring out who we're talking about here? This is the verse I mentioned, guys. You want to get your minds around this one? So this is chapter 7, verse 10. Remember, they say the beloved is Muhammad. And so she, Solomon's bride, says, I belong to my beloved, and his desire is for me. So is she talking about her beloved Solomon? Or is she talking about a guy who wouldn't be born for another 1,500 years? These are the kinds of questions that we need to ask. Oops, hang on. I keep bringing it. Sorry about that. Just have a bunch of passages here. I'm kind of almost picking them up at random. Let's see. So, where has your beloved gone? Oh, this is actually funny. Hey, check this out, guys. You ready? Look at this. Where has your beloved gone? This is why people thought this was naughty, guys. Not just because it's filled with talk of like how hot her breasts are and stuff like that, right? It's some of the stuff seems to be saying something like kind of really, really naughty. So listen to this. So this is chapter 6. So guys, the point is this is right after 5:16, right? So you got chapter 5. They quote chapter 5, verse 16. The very next chapter, right? Check this out. Where has your beloved gone, O most beautiful among women? Where has your beloved turned that we may seek him with you? Let's check out her response. You'll see why some people think this is a bit naughty here. Now look at this. My beloved, where's he gone? My beloved has gone down. The idea is this stuff has double meanings, right? It's talking about going to a place, but actually talking about something sexual, right? So listen. My beloved has gone down to his garden. My beloved has gone down to his garden, to the beds of spices, to graze in the gardens and to gather lilies. I am my beloved's, and my beloved is mine. So keep in mind, she's talking about Muhammad here. He grazes among the lilies. So he goes down to his garden and grazes among the lilies. Got this so far? This is where they're going for a prophecy about Muhammad. But you look just a little in the same chapter, then it talks about what she's doing. So he goes down to the garden and grazes among the lilies. Then she says, I went down to the nut orchard. I went down to the nut orchard to look at the blossoms of the valley, to see whether the vines had budded, whether the pomegranates were in bloom. Before I was aware, my desire set me among the chariots of my kinsman, a prince. So anyway, there are people who interpret, the guy is grazing in the garden among the lilies and stuff like this, and she goes down to the nut orchard. They're like, sounds pretty darn sexual and so on. That's why a lot of people. That's why you had rabbis and later Christians who were like, "It sounds pretty naughty. We need to interpret this pretty radically differently." But the point is, this is where Muslims are going. They're saying this is actually about Muhammad. So anyway, going back to the actual passage that they quote. So this is chapter 5. They go to verse 16. We read in chapter 3 where it was talking about. This is Solomon.
What chapter was that one? What chapter was that one that you were just in?
I was just in chapter 6, the nut orchard.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So.
Yeah.
Okay,
So the point there was that's right afterwards, and they're talking about the nut orchard and stuff. But we read earlier. We read some of chapter 3 where it's clearly talking about Solomon, and then chapter 4 is him praising her body, him praising her for her hotness. He's talking about how hot she is, talking about her breasts, and he goes part by part, talking about how hot she is. Then in chapter 5, she starts praising his body, part by part. So listen, she says, my beloved is radiant and ruddy, outstanding among 10,000. His head is purest gold. So notice his head there. His head is purest gold. His hair is wavy and black as a raven. His eyes are like doves by the water streams, washed in milk, mounted like jewels. Next part. His cheeks are like beds of spice, yielding perfume. His lips are like lilies, dripping with myrrh. His arms, so she's kind of starting at the head and then going down the rest of it, and going down his face and stuff and the rest of his body. His arms are rods of gold set with topaz. His body is like polished ivory, decorated with lapis lazuli. And the only parallel to Muhammad there is he's as white as ivory. And here you have it. Here's the prophecy. His legs are pillars of marble. His legs are pillars of marble set on bases of pure gold. His appearance is like Lebanon, choice as its cedars. His mouth is sweetness itself. He is altogether lovely. This is my beloved. This is my friend, daughters of Jerusalem. So notice she starts with his head and his face and so on, then goes down to his arms, his body, his legs, and then she goes back up to his mouth. It's like she's checking him out from head to toe and then looks back up. His mouth is sweetness itself. He is Muhammad. So according to the story, this was actually Solomon's bride getting a vision of Muhammad and lusting after him. Now, as we were pointing out, the word that they want to translate as Muhammad here occurs in multiple places in the Old Testament. The word's Mahmad. Here it's plural. Why? Because it's talking about it's all together. It's talking about all his body parts and then says he's altogether lovely. It uses the plural here. Mahmadim. But if you want to say Muhammad is actually the name Muhammad, it's actually the name Muhammad, you get some interesting stuff. So this is the book of Ezekiel, guys. This is the book of Ezekiel, chapter 24. And here you have God telling Ezekiel that his wife's going to die. It says, the word of the Lord came to me, Son of man, with one blow I am about to take away from you the delight of your eyes, yet do not lament or weep or shed any tears. There's going to be a parallel with what is about to happen to Jerusalem. But right here you have, notice what it says there, the delight of your eyes. The delight of your eyes. The word for delight there is Muhammad. The word for delight there is Muhammad. What did Sheikh Uthman say? You don't translate a noun. You don't translate a noun. And what he means is you don't translate Muhammad. That's a name. Okay. So, son of man, with one blow I'm about to take away from you Muhammad. But this is about Ezekiel's wife. So, according to Sheikh Uthman, Muhammad was Ezekiel's wife. Y'all catching that? And Muhammad is the woman in this relationship, but he's Ezekiel's wife. Muhammad was Ezekiel's wife. So Muhammad, according to Sheikh Uthman, is a time-traveling trans woman. He traveled through time. Maybe I'm Barak. Hey, you don't know. Maybe Barak can also take you through time. So Barak took Muhammad through time, flew him back. Muhammad had his surgery, and he became Ezekiel's wife, and then God took him away. But also, notice what you have here. It's a couple verses later, same chapter. So I said to them, the word of the Lord came to me. Say to the people of Israel, this is what the sovereign Lord says. I am about to desecrate my sanctuary, the stronghold in which you take pride, the delight of your eyes, the object of your affection. So there's a parallel with Ezekiel's wife dying and the people of Israel losing the temple and losing Jerusalem and so on. But you have here, say to the people of Israel, this is what the sovereign Lord says. I am about to desecrate my sanctuary, the stronghold in which you take pride, the delight of your eyes. Hey, everyone, guess what the word for delight there is? If you said it's Muhammad, you are correct. But what does God say he's going to do to Muhammad? I am about to desecrate my sanctuary. So remember, delight here means Muhammad. You can't translate that. You have to just stick with the name. So it's Muhammad. Muhammad is the sanctuary, and God says he's going to desecrate the sanctuary. He's going to desecrate Muhammad. God says he's going to desecrate Muhammad. So, you kind of put it all together. If Muhammad is the name Muhammad, then Muhammad was a time-traveling transgender woman. But not only that, he was sexually attracted to a woman who'd been dead for 15 centuries, making him a necrophile. And according to Ezekiel 24, God looks at all this and says, I'm just going to desecrate this dude. So,
yeah. He has another big problem. He's a Salafi. He doesn't believe in poetry and metaphor and simile. This is not, Salafis don't have this equipment. They're literalists. They can't even really read the Bible because, for example, if they read the gospel and they read parables, how can they understand this? These are literalist people. They can't understand these texts. Their mentality is not equipped in order to engage this. So he tries to talk about that, like the literature in this using metaphor and simile, but I'm like, you're a Salafi, dude. This is out of your league, bro.
Paul here says, some polemical discussions suggest it refers to Prophet Muhammad in Song of Songs 5:16, but mainstream linguists and Hebrew grammarians note it is simply a standard descriptive noun, not a proper name. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. It's a word that appears in multiple places in the Old Testament. Matter of fact, way back in the day, because I mentioned I encountered this in the 1990s. I used the Strong's Concordance and looked up the other verses, and I was like, this is like really, really stupid. Now, eventually, when I got out, I emailed some Hebrew scholar or something like that, and they couldn't even understand what the heck I was saying, right? I was like, hey, could this be a name here? And they're like, what? It's like, yeah, this could be a name here. What are you talking about? Yeah, could this be a name and not a word that means, lovely or something like that? And what? they couldn't even understand. Like I was.
Yeah, it's impossible. Just grammatically impossible.
All right, Jai, what did you want to add to this discussion?
Oh no, you covered. I just had funny examples like that. That was pretty much that. But
you got Jack Ray here, Nut Orchard, Issa. Salafis don't have this equipment.
He can't engage the Bible. He doesn't. It's so outside of his purview. He just doesn't understand the text. And I'm sorry, most of these da'is don't. Like, I was listening to Cora, and I'm like, she's very charismatic. She has a charm, but she doesn't understand the Bible. True. She doesn't understand this text. She will quote the text, but I'm like, the only people she's talking to are Muslims. And I agree with what David and Michael were saying. Like, no, and in the panel here, no Christian is going to be persuaded. No Jewish person is going to be persuaded by any of these arguments. They're not compelling, and they're just very dishonest. And it's like they believe in Thrasymachus' position, might makes right. They think if they look tough, they look strong, what they're saying is true. But truth isn't, brute strength. That's not what truth is. So,
Issa there bringing up my favorite character in the Plato's dialogues, Thrasymachus. That dude cracked me up, man. Wow.
Yeah,
this is
it's
sad.
Like, man,
Sheikh,
the more we find out about
Uthman seems like he's like 10 to 15 years out of like time displacement. Like he's using stuff from 10 to 15 years ago, and he's trying to recycle it because it's all been destroyed already. And he's looking for these last pockets of ignorance about the arguments to jump in there and try to get a couple of points, even though it's just going to lead to him being exposed more. It's very short-term thinking, right? Like there's no way this becomes some big, awesome argument that convinces tons of people and so on. It becomes exhibit triple A in our case for why these guys are chronic compulsive liars.
Yeah.
Well, anything else, guys?
I really want to watch that section now that you said about the Quran being preserved. So we should probably come back and do some like you said, maybe even videos based off of this.
Oh, I definitely want to make some videos.
Yeah.
If they want to get like dirty and slimy like that, that's normally when I want to respond. Like someone is getting dirty, and it's like, oh, okay, all right. Well, you want to get slimy, then we're gonna wreck your profit here, man, and expose you guys. But definitely more to cover there.
Yeah. So pretty crazy stuff. Lots of deception there, and this won't be the last one. I don't know what's going to take for the Muslims to find, like, I mean, they based off of that selfie that he took with the guys at, Sean Kelly's show there with Avery and everyone. It's like that was like a big progress, at least for the Muslims, and like, holding them to account for certain things or calling them up for certain things, but obviously didn't have that much of an effect. So
yeah, I know. No, but I mean, think about how, like, because we saw that. Think about how massively dysfunctional this is. This guy lies constantly lies about the Bible, lies about sources, lies about Islamic sources, lies about every footnote he reads, fakes a hate crime against himself, takes the wife of his own dawah buddy, takes the dude's wife, says she's mine now. And so meanwhile, this woman, she didn't get a divorce, so she was married to both these guys at once. One of his other wives has to get a restraining order against him for smashing a bowl over her head and pointing a gun at her and all this other stuff. And then right here, lying about Southern Seminary, lying about the professors, lying about everything. What do they actually get mad about? Oh, you gave dap to Avery in a picture. That's what they get mad at. It's like, wait, you're like endless lies and deception doesn't bother you even slightly. Never a peep. But being in the same room and being friendly with Christians, that's where we draw the line. You guys are telling us you guys are telling us a lot about your religion. You are telling us a lot about your religion, and it ain't good. It ain't good, guys. But we're here to expose it. Let's take these last super chats
We're here for it.
Mo turned into waterman after the night of I already read this. Let's see. Uthman ibn Scandal. His new name.
I saw someone call him Uthman ibn Shawarma. That's a pretty good one.
Hey, he got two new nicknames here tonight, guys. That's good.
Yeah.
Totally fake debate from the little I saw on Life's Rant. I doubt it took place where he said it did. Has anyone verified? Yeah, where are you jumping in? No, it didn't. We've already gone through that. No, it definitely was not at the place he said it was. He said it was at the seminary. It was not at the seminary. That was a lie. Don't know if this is a good time, but could you react to this vid real quick? Jesus himself refutes the Islamic dilemma. Brooke Woodall?
Brooke Woodall.
No, not going to do that right now, but I'll check it out later and see if it deserves a response. The poem is a prophecy of the night of Al-Zut. Yeah, that would be the best case they could make about that. You telling me Momo wouldn't be into that? Oh, yeah. Yeah, he would. Just that's not what the book's about. Thank you, Dr. Woodjai, David, Michael, and Chet. Hey, Issa! Haven't heard from Issa in a long time, so that's good to hear from Issa. All right, guys, final thoughts on all of this before we jump out of here.
Man, it's just more and more deception coming from the Muslims, more scandals, and as you guys will see, I think Life already did a reaction to the discussion with Amin. I mean, these guys are just such liars. Like, they will not even admit, like, when something's clear as day in front of them, they'll just lie, obstruct, and just dodge. And it's like, when are they gonna wake up? We just pray for them. Yeah, pray for them. Pray that they repent. Pray that they come to the Lord Jesus. And I hope that also inspires and encourages more Christians to, if this ever happens at like some seminary or university near you, to kind of like, prepare other people, help prepare other people, prepare yourself. And, if he ever comes by or some other Muslim group does, then, hopefully we see, see maybe some more of these debates and discussions, but not the way that Uthman is trying to portray it, right? Like, we're like just getting people who don't know like really like about Islam or about the topics that he's going to discuss, and get people in there that are aware of his tactics and his arguments, and that's kind of what we want to see more of, people exposing him.
Yeah, and it's super weird. It's like, okay, 26% of young people are leaving Islam. We've got the avalanche of apostasy. We're in all kinds of, okay, we need to lie more. That's what they do. Oh, no, things aren't going well. Let's lie more. Okay, that's not working. Well, lie even more. Okay, it's still not working. Let's lie about this entire school.
Yeah.
The truth does not need that, guys. If you have the truth, your response to everything is not, I need to lie even more. I need to be a more prolific liar. But that's what dawah is. Issa, what do you think, man? What do you think about your religion?
You're funny.
And what it leads to?
It's so interesting. The kind of Islamic stuff that I learned was not this stuff. It's a lot the kind of what I learned about Islam growing up was very similar to like Christianity. Yeah, it was much more like you had spiritual teaching and wisdom teachings that taught you how to be a good person. This type of stuff, I don't know. I can't disagree with what either brothers are saying. Like, it's really horrible. It's really bad. It's really dishonest. It's really evil. Like I don't know how else to put it. It's very evil stuff. What Sheikh Uthman has been doing, it's very disturbing because he's not just doing these like fraudulent debates. He's setting it up like it's like a, like a wrestling match. It's like the sham that he's setting up where it looks like, we're going to see a real kind of tournament, but in reality, he set up the show for him to win. He's going to win every single match. Um, he's trying to set up his opponents to fail. He does everything he can where he's not going to have an honest, fair debate. And he did that before, but it didn't actually turn out well for him. He failed in the first debate. Despite him trying to set up this trap, it was a failure. And people saw it, He looked very bad. He didn't win any of the debates. He lost every single one, objectively. There's not one point that he won. He lost everyone, very, very badly. And in this debate, he's like, oh, I can't do that. I have to do the Zakir Naik. I can't actually debate people who know what they're talking about. So I have to set it up where I'm going to bring kids here. I'm going to bring people who are going to agree with me, like the Unitarian. I'm going to bring up all these people where it's not actually an honest debate. It's going to be completely dishonest. And it's disturbing. It's a very disturbing thing. Just be honest and have a conversation. But the problem is this type of community is not interested in honesty. And they're actually pretty scary because imagine if these people had power, like the world. They would be extremely dangerous. Imagine, the thing is, these people are very even open about like child marriage. What an evil thing to be okay with. I honestly think, and I would, kind of abjure to like all the Muslims, they have to abandon this Aisha being 6 years old. You have to abandon this. Even if it's not in the sources, you have to leave it. You have to abandon it because it's an evil idea to have your teacher doing that. And I get it. It's a difficult thing, but you can't accept this because it is such a bad thing. You can't have a teacher believing in child marriage. Like it's just really unacceptable. There's a lot of things people have to work with, and you have to wrestle with these things, and you have to just say it's not correct. And my problem is when people are saying bad things are good, I can't stand with that. I can't say abusing children is good. It's wrong. It's bad. I can't even think of, like, I can't fathom doing that. Like, that doesn't even exist in my mind. It's such a horrible, evil thought. And people, not only is it this existing in their mind, they're promoting it. We even had it in the chat today that people are like, yes, I'm going to support child marriage. And I'm like, you shouldn't be in the chat. You should be in jail. People, there was a movie called Sound of Freedom where this man goes, it was the same guy who played Jesus in The Passion of the Christ. He goes and catches these bad people, right? But these people are just saying, yeah, this is good. We'll call it marriage, and that makes it okay. It's still abuse. This is abuse. It's child abuse. And I don't know how anybody can support the child abuse. And it's like, even if the text says that, you just have to say, okay, that happened a long time ago. It was bad. And we got to move on. Even if you're like a literalist, you just got to call it bad. You know what I mean? And move on with it. I don't know. It's so bad to me. But there's just like the debates are bad. The character, these people have no ahlak. Jai knows this. I'm sure you know this too, David. Like good character, adab. They don't have good manners. They don't have haya. They don't have modesty. They don't have any of these good qualities or traits.
Definitely no hikmah.
And there's no hikmah. And I'm like, I'm sorry, the Christians are winning this. The Christians have better character. They have better wisdom.
True.
And the
Good
Muslims are doing bad, man. That's all I can say. And I'm very sad.
Point.
I'm very sad by
point.
what I'm seeing. But
yeah,
what can I do?
Matter of fact, Issa, you brought up the child marriage, but that even came up in Sig's discussion with Sheikh Uthman's producer. He said he goes, nope, Muhammad didn't do anything wrong. And then Sig's like, wait, what? So how old was Aisha when he consummated marriage? He goes, 9 years old. Nope, it was good. It was good. It's totally great. So yeah, creepy stuff. What were you saying, Jay?
Oh, there was a Muslim in the chat who said, as a Muslim, I would end another Muslim who came for my daughter. So interesting. We got more Muslims agreeing with Issa in the chat.
Would have been good if Abu Bakr had that exact same reaction when Muhammad wanted his daughter. But Issa, you're concerned, rightly so, about all these really, really weird things in Islam. You say, you got to dump them. You got to dump them. Issa, you can do it all at once, and just dump the whole thing. All right. And we'll just leave Issa to think upon this. Issa, when did Islam get hijacked, in your opinion? Long, long time ago. All right, everyone. I'll be back tomorrow. Should be on Hatoon's channel on tomorrow night. But before that, I think we're going to take a look at Cameron's video. Cameron made a video where apparently he recycled. I haven't seen either one of them, but apparently he made a video about Wes Huff. And then made a similar video about me. Haven't checked it out, but we're going to check it out live tomorrow. All right. Anything else? Good?
Sounds good. Yeah.
Right.
Thank you.
Catch you all then.